How's everything going? How's your morning going, Dara? Oh boy,
sorry.
all right.
It's going okay. It's actually a little frustrating because look at this beautiful chart on Ferrari.
Oh, you're muted.
My mic is on.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I'm using my mic. Okay, right. So I'm good. Okay, awesome. So guys, look at this little Ferrari. Okay, I tried a long here, and I will say I used the trading view chart to enter this. It looked a bit better, but I was looking at it in the book, and basically we had this push lower, right? Obviously, I wanted to short like here at the 408s. I couldn't get filled, whatever. So come back up. We make this pop over VWAP. Then we come and look how we sit so pretty here on the 90 MA. Then we kind of form a little bit of a base here at that 407.40. So I'm like, dope. I'll get long here. We see this push up. I like the order book. It doesn't work, whatever. I get stopped out. That's fine. Then I try to get short here because lower highs. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I only get part filled. I get 2/5 of what I actually wanted. Then I add here when we make this lower low, because again, my thesis is we're making lower highs and higher lows. So if I see a lower low that is a bit of a change here and I want to add to that, I would have added regardless had I gotten fulfilled. That's not the point. The point is look at how much I get wicked out here. In fact, actually on the minute chart, look, there is no wick where I got filled. I got ghost filled. So it's okay. And then the stock drops. And obviously, you know what we do here? We don't get emotional. Does this suck? Of course. Does it matter? No, because you know what, Obi? We get back in that Ferrari, we turn on the gas, and we look for another trade. However, 403 was yesterday's low and a level of resistance and support on the daily. So will I be watching that potentially for something? Yes. Will it be forcing anything? That'd be a no. I had a nice little Applovin short earlier today as well that I will pull up and talk about for 1 second. Yeah, so look, this is pretty clean, I think. VWAP rejection, I took this low. I should have added at 592. I didn't. That's not the point. I got out here because I was looking at the book and I was like, this is going to get dicey. Then it rips up $3 and I was like, woo. Sometimes you just feel good about yourself, you know. And then I got stopped out. So my stop was just above VWAP. I got slipped $1.50. It's fine. Got stopped out. A little bit worse than break even. I'm not going to cry over it. This was something I was looking at for a short rejection of VWAP. And then the tariff situation with Trump and the post happened. So I had a lot of short ideas that have been completely, I guess, thrown out with the baby in the bathwater there with this drop. I'm going to have to reconsider this whole market. But I'm so happy I get to reconsider this whole market with you guys.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, solid trading there. Yeah, no, sometimes those ghost fills can be a little annoying.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, I think it's just sometimes orders just get internalized. I think that's why you get the ghost fill there. But you know, it is what it is. This market's coming in real hot.
I should mention the news though, because people are saying they missed it.
Okay, yeah, sure. Mention the news.
Trump posted the longest post I've ever seen on social media ever, and I'm really not exaggerating, about tariffs in China and how he's mad at President Xi, and there could be massive tariffs on China. That was what happened there. That's really what happened. That was the news. Trump is very annoyed at Xi. Said there's really no point in meeting.
No worries.
Yeah.
You want to log into Unity?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
As well? Okay, cool. Thank you. So that's why the markets are kind of dropping. So a little bit of a shake and bake happening here with some presidential truths. Again, I didn't do too much this morning session. I didn't really see too much, to be honest. I was just like, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to be patient because I honestly, I think there was 1 or 2 things that I missed. CoreWeave was quite nice. It was very, very strong as well. I really like that move. So let's take a quick look at what that did here. APLD, I was watching APLD as well here, and that didn't really do too much. I was looking for that continuation. Nice strong push on their earnings report, and yeah, a little bit of a no-show off of the open as it just consolidates and trades sideways between a range of 39 and roughly 35, 34, 59 are the lows right now on APLD. But CoreWeave, oh boy, this one was running really nicely off of the open, and I was like, oh boy, I want to participate in a potential reversion, but that was so choppy I kind of left it alone. But you can see the follow through now coming in on CoreWeave is pretty aggressive. So shout out to anybody who is sitting in the shorts, not the longs, sitting in the shorts on the day. Yeah, Boss Play saying, are we going to get another 222 test on Amazon? I think so. I like the way, I like that you guys are following along now. It's like, all right, 222s on Amazon, the chart will speak for itself. I'll just point it out over and over again over the past couple of weeks. Don't forget, that is January month open. That is the year opening price. Now, When is it important? I don't know, but if the price action on the chart keeps telling me that this is important, hey, look, we keep going and transacting at this price over and over again, then maybe I'm looking to take inventory into that price, being a little position neutral. Just being like, okay, for prices above, I want to take it into it. If prices below, I want to take it into it as well. So I think that's been pretty nice if you have the risk allotment to kind of take that kind of a trade. But yeah, NVIDIA is pulling back into some prior levels here. So the thing becomes, all right, cool, we got a strong quadunk. My question is, where bid? When bid? Where's the reversion? So that's what I'm going to be looking for. And another price that I keep pointing out over the past couple of weeks on the Nasdaq, guess what? 25,000. Hello, once again, 25,000 test on the Nasdaq. So yeah, that's been that's been coming in multiple times over and over again. TMQ US metals, yeah. So rare earth metals were kind of pointed out in that truth, and oh boy, the market is tanking, but take a look at MP materials ripping to the upside. 76 is what was the undisturbed price here? So a little bit of a shake and bake earlier, maybe someone knew something, expanding volume, and then boom, 76 is all the way to 82.5. So MP materials, what's another one? TMC, the metals company. Okay, there's a little bit of a bid that came in with a strong sell-off of the open, but this is bringing some bid back into the stock here. I think there's one more. There's one more rare earth company. If you guys know, throw it up in the chat. I'll be more than willing to kind of look at it. I'm looking for them as well. But that MP is looking quite solid as of right now. I'm waiting for the bid to step in because these sellers are very, very aggressive. If you were already short, like I said, good luck. And shout out to you. LAC saying chuck of all trades. Yes, that is correct. Lithium, of course, a little bit of wipe back up all the way to 816s here on LAC. So we'll see. We'll see how this kind of digests and how we come out of this by the end of the day. But interesting price action nonetheless on this tariff news here by the president himself. Should be interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna share this post.
You weren't lying when you said that is the longest.
So thank you to Sherry for reading this when I was just getting set up at this desk. This post is super long, and we're not gonna read the whole thing again. My throat also would probably give out on me, but what I will say is I think the biggest thing is there's now no reason to meet President Xi, he said. And of course, this is typical, guys, for Trump Truth Social posts. If you see a really long post, life hack from Adara from a news perspective, just go to the end. Because usually the thing you need to know is at the end. When he announced the Liberation Day tariffs were going to be delayed, that announcement came at the very end of his post. I spent the first post being like, why is the market moving on this? So go to the very, very end, guys. Apparently, yeah, USAR is good, MP is good. Apparently, TLT is pushing higher. But yeah, so again, the biggest part here is considering a massive increase of tariffs on China, and he no longer thinks there's any reason for him to meet with President Xi, potentially. That is the main thing that you guys need to know here. I tried a short there on Lulu at the low kind of, I thought we were going to break down because we were consolidating nicely. It did not work. Oh, wait, I'm not stopped out yet, so we'll see, but I'll show you guys what I was looking for. Yeah, I took this short. I was like, okay, dope. Then it kind of slooped. Now it's coming back up. My stop is going to be around this kind of consolidation high. I have no problem with getting stopped out of this and getting back in. I wanted the short on Lulu at 173. And my thought was, okay, Adair, you have to get set up for the show. You have to log out, put in your P-Pro over there, take your time. Now, if I had gotten the 170 to 90 short risking to VWAP, obviously that would have been really good. We have eyes. I don't have to say that. It's a little disappointing I didn't get it. But, guys, you know what you don't get? Disappointed. You know what you do get? Over it and taking some trades. Yeah. So that's my take there on Lulu. I'm not looking at too many tickers today. Lulu I'm watching. Darn, I missed that. Race, re-short, but it's fine. CrowdStrike I was watching, but CrowdStrike, the volume today, we're still above 1 million. I was like making a little joke to myself in my head. I'm like, guess how many tickers have more volume than CrowdStrike today? RACE, Netflix, everything except for CrowdStrike. But no, all jokes aside, you guys know I was watching CrowdStrike yesterday. We had this kind of push into all-time highs. We broke down. I liked the idea of this kind of short here with that double VWAP projection, but with the volume being what it was, I would just have had to risk like way more than I thought it was worth given the volume, so I just didn't get into it. Now we're kind of consolidating here. I think we might break down into 500. And also, when I'm looking for shorts here, I want things that have already kind of broken down, right? I don't want a stock that was cray-cray strong. I hate that I just said cray-cray there all day, and now is pushing lower, right? So with that in mind, what is pushing lower here? That would be, CrowdStrike was already kind of pushing lower. RACE already breaking down. AMD with the most beautiful bear flag known to man. I tried to get into this a couple times. It didn't work. I didn't want to force it. That being said, Obi.
Yes.
I like this little double bottom at 220.50s. You'd have to risk like $3 for it. AMD is not usually a ticker I like to do that for it. We'll keep an eye on it. Right now I am in Lulu. I have a feeling I'll probably get stopped out of Lulu. And then in that case, people might be like, Adara, why just not leave if you think you're going to get stopped out? That is not my approach. I'm going to see the trade through till the end. FT.
No worries. Yeah. No, I think that's a good point there. You want to see those trades into the end. You want to follow the plan. We talked a little bit about this later. Just if you're looking at your blotter and you're seeing some green or some red, and that's what you're trading off of, I'm sorry, but you're already on the wrong path. But you got to trade the trade. The trade is a trade, and you have to give it that kind of a respect. And if you're looking at P&L and if you're thinking about money. Right away. If you're thinking about money, like you're that you're already in the wrong mindset. Now, sometimes I catch myself doing this as well, right? I'm just like, oh, I'll be in a position, it might not be working or something like that. I'll start thinking in ways that I normally don't think. I'll be like, okay, well, how's my P&L looking like? What's how far am I from? How much % of my daily shutdown or whatever? You know what I mean? Like things that are related to dollars. As soon as I utter those words or those things cross my mind, I just know already that I'm probably on the wrong path in the position. But I think that's a great point there. You want to have your main focus on what the trade is, what you think the trade is, and then mainly just following your plan as well, right? So I think that's a big one to kind of participate in. So yeah, let me know what you guys are doing here. I got involved with a little bit of that LAC on that initial pop, but like I said, I'm going to keep it tight. I don't like chasing necessarily, and this is very much a chase. But here's the thing: the news is relatively fresh as well as it dissipates around the world. Participants might be looking into some of these stocks as well. Maybe looking at that volume indicator could be a good sign as well. If we see that volume starting to expand and push, then maybe that could be a good thing as well. And I think we got a super chat. Did we get a super chat? Oh, right. Okay, sorry. So there's a new feature, guys. So what's going to happen is when you guys send a super chat, we'll actually hear it. It'll be text to voice. I'll hear it in my ear. You'll hear it on the show, and we'll hear it in the studio as well. So I don't know who's going to be reading them out, but that's just a FYI for anybody there. Sorry, say again? His name is Brian. So Brian will be reading out some of your super chats as well.
Who's Brian?
Yeah, who's Brian, right? I'm thinking it's some sort of like a text-to-speech voice thing as well. So shout out to Brian, who's going to be reading out all of your super chats. So
Get it,
should be interesting, should be fun. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. They're going to be sending goofy chats to whisper into your ear. That's exactly what I told Fabian. I was like, "Yo, what happens if some of these chats start to get a little bit questionable, right?" I think we do have some safeties in place. We'll see. We'll see how that kind of pans out. Yeah, that's why you want to test it a little bit there. So imagine, I can imagine things going pretty good, or the other way as well. But we'll find out. You know what I like to do. I like to wait and see what happens. So we'll see. But let me know in the chat. What are you guys trading? This move is absolutely crazy. You know, one stock that is not taking it on the chin right now. Oh boy, Oklo. Look at that. Market does not care. Is it affected by this? Probably not. Is it doing its own thing? Yes. Very much so. Is it relatively strong already on the day? Yes. So this is giving me some information that is pretty interesting here on the day. LAC getting stopped out there as we pull back in. That's perfectly fine. More than willing to try again. If that was going to go, I was looking for it to go right away. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And I just give it a few pennies there of risk. So we did get a super chat here, but I didn't really hear too much just yet. So Let's see, Mohammed saying, just bought SPY puts for today, a short scalp right before the news, and my 8K turned into 40K literally in 2 minutes. Nice, man. Congratulations, congratulations. This is what we talk about when we say getting lucky, right? Getting lucky is a lot of people are like, oh yeah, you know, you just got lucky, but no, luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? That's this is
a test super chat message.
Oh, boom. Oh, okay. Did you guys hear that? No? Obi, LAC on VWAP saying Antonio, yes, maybe. Thank you for the super chat. I'll keep eyes on, but it kind of cracked that VWAP as of right now. So we'll kind of keep eyes on. The market continues to drop as of right now. But talking about getting lucky, I think preparation meets opportunity. I think Seneca said that, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, it's about placing yourself in a position to get lucky. Now, there were a lot of signals that were saying that, you know, market might be a little bit weak. We're at the top of the range, and that probably got you into that short in the first place. And then, boom, follow through on news. So good stuff there. Yeah, great trade, great trade. SPY puts, yeah, if you had SPY puts today, you're definitely milking. You had any sort of mag-related puts or market-related puts, yeah, you're definitely printing as of right now, and we are making another leg lower as of right now. We're just eating through a lot of these orders, man.
Yeah, I mean, my good friend AMD came in clutch, and I want to talk about this. I am someone who has zero qualms, like literally no qualms, about taking low-of-day breakdowns. And I know I know Neil's talked about this. Neil said that's generally something he's not going to do. Sharif was talking about high-of-days. I have no problem taking high-of-day or low-of-day. Now, this is something I think I could probably temper the extent to which I do it, or the amount to which I do it. But why do I do this? Because here's my thinking. Like, if something is weak, if it's really building into this weakness, and if it's giving you, especially like this, where you've just gone, you really can't get higher, then I'm going to be comfortable trying a short, because here's my theory. The market is still, like, the stock is still weak. The market is still weak. I have confluence for it. I have no reason to believe all of a sudden it'll be beautiful and strong. So with that in mind, I take the short. The order book looked really clean on this too. I'm risking to the top of the shelf, 223, just above 223.20s. Again, I am giving this room, and I know that is a comment that I saw in some of my trades yesterday, like, oh, I give things a lot of room. I don't take profit right away. I don't have an issue with that, and I think my biggest issue when I used to be in the midday with Sharif is I would take profit constantly and way too early, and I would actually negate my best trades just by taking profit too soon. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather have a situation here like this race car, my Ferrari, my Rari, where, you know, I literally I showed you guys the 1 minute chart, I got ghost wicked on this. I'd rather have that where I lost, but I followed the plan and the trade and it was just a freak incident in the market, than take profit too early. In case in point, AMD still breaking new day low. I'm not moving my stop on this unless I get a discernible lower high or the book starts going crazy, trying to take profit around 217s, because that was a bit of support resistance level on the chart when I zoomed out. Take a look at CrowdStrike, still kind of breaking down. I like the idea of a 500 breakdown, especially with the volume increase. But as I said, CrowdStrike still has not traded 1 million shares in volume. Now, I'll trade things below 1 million shares all day, every day. But as I mentioned yesterday, I don't like to trade things below 1 million shares when it's like already like 11. I'm like, you should be at 1 million by now, girl. I don't care. Now, Lulu. This, I will argue, is probably, I don't want to say less defensible low of day breakdown, because I do stand by it. This is kind of coming into an AVWAP I have. Most of my AVWAPs are from earnings on Lulu, so I suspect it was that, though I will go back and check. And guys, this is where I think stop placement really matters, and I want to give a lot of props to Sean and Obi and Jose as well, but all of whom have really helped me with regards to stop placement, right? I think the biggest thing here is give your stops room. Like, I remember I kept telling Sean, oh my God, I would get like, you know, wicked out. And he said, give it like a little bit of room above where you think the level is. And I think that's super important, because with Lulu, if I'd put the stop clean where I thought this little trenchy top was, I would have gotten stopped out in this wick right here. But I gave it room. It ended up working out in my favor. Now, the one thing with giving it room is sometimes when you do get stopped out, you get, you know, blown out a little bit, especially with the type of stuff I trade. But I'd rather, again, have my stop, you know, get blown out occasionally and get, you know, all swept up, gone with the wind, than constantly get wicked out of quality trades. I gave almost said NASCAR. I gave my Ferrari, I gave my race car some room here, and I still got wicked out. So that is a good sign, guys. All you can control is making sure you have a system for your stop setting and making sure you have a way to handle it. Guys, in case you missed the move, Donald Trump posted, again, the longest post I have ever seen on Truth Social. The highlights of this were he is not happy with President Xi, and he no longer thinks there's any point in meeting with Xi, which he was supposed to do in a couple weeks in South Korea, and he is considering massive, in all caps, tariffs there for China. So that is the news for those who missed it. And I might do a post at some point on TTV Research and infographic about this post, but it's so long I really have to do some edits there. How are you doing?
Not too bad. I'm just observing this this selling kind of come in pretty aggressively. That Oklo that I was just talking about, that's also coming in pretty nicely as of right now as well. So maybe we break down into that $150 mark. I got a little bit long here on LAC as it dropped down into this $8 level. But here's the thing, guys. If this market continues to bleed as it is, I think that we are definitely poised for a lot lower, and you gotta watch out for some of the stocks that are maybe somewhat related to market sentiment, the betas, and look for maybe disconnects as well. What are the stocks that are disconnecting from this market drop? Are they're not correlated, or they've broken correlation or anything like that of the sort? I think there's definitely going to be stuff in there. So point those out if you guys see them, because whenever things start to decorrelate, I definitely want to have eyes on some of those stocks for sure, just to see if after for whatever reason they've decorrelated, is there a probability or possibility even of coming back in and reverting to the mean if those prices are actually truly mispriced. So I kind of like just that concept as well. Let's see if we can kind of bring that into fruition. So eyes on and eyes out for anything that's not doing what this market is doing. I already pointed out a couple of them, like Oklo as well. That thing has been bidding up pretty nicely. So I'm looking at that. NVIDIA all the way back down to 188.70s. I was looking at IONQ earlier this morning. That's coming back into day lows as well. Oracle's just pushed past day lows. CoreWeave's giving it all up and then some more. Apple's breaking down as well. So it seems like sellers are definitely on board today, and we've been seeing like inklings of strong sellers, coming and going over the past couple of weeks. We've seen the strong sell-offs that we've gotten. Oracle with that intraday news, like anything and everything. Like it's almost as if sellers are waiting for attention to come to a stock, and as soon as it comes in, they use that liquidity to kind of, or use that volume as effective liquidity for selling. You know what I mean? I don't know. Whatever it is, people are selling on on a lot of things right now. So interesting stuff. We've already seen the signs of that, and some more happening today on an actual Trump tariff scare once again. So we'll see if he tacos this one. But I don't know. Maybe these are the dips. Maybe these are dips we're looking for. We were talking about sorry, yeah, exactly, taco dip. So it's like guac. Yeah. Maybe I'm looking for the guac. But the question is, who's got the sauce?
I mean, my AMD trade has the sauce, I'll tell you that. No, all jokes aside, and I'm not trying to be like whatever way about it. I'm proud I got into this. So again, as I said, low day breaks can always be a tale of two stories. My Lulu trade is oscillating right now and kind of giving me nothing. But this AMD, and again, as Obi said, a lot of times you want trades to work right away. Now, as I've said with spready tickers, I don't feel that way. In fact, sometimes I feel the opposite. Sometimes I want to see it get right to my level and then... AMD, though, worked right away. I took profit at 216. I told you guys, or actually closer to 217, just below 217. I told you guys already why I like that level. It's because when I zoomed out, that was a bit of a level. Now, speaking of zooming out, making sure you guys like and subscribe, please and thank you. But also, Bud C in the chat was saying, let's look forward. Where's the bottom on the Qs? Where's it going to bounce? Here's the thing. I think both, I don't want to speak for Obi, but I know kind of both how we stand on the market, and neither of us are like, super... We're not going to try to make guesses on things. And I don't want to speak for you, Obi, but I based on our conversations, I know I certainly am this way. I think you are a little bit as well. I don't want to make guesses on where the bottom's going to come in, right? That's just not my style. It's not my steez. What I will say is, I'm going to zoom out a little. I'll do can I do a 4-hour here? Because I just want to see where there is any, potential support or resistance. And the thing is, too, we're coming from basically highs, and then just kind of dropping here. Guys, I honestly, Bud C and everybody, I would think the support level on the Qs would be, the only one that's really screaming at me here would be 602.70. This is the QQQ, and we missed that. So at that point, honestly, the next level of potential support resistance in the Qs, and it's really choppy, would maybe be this, oh my God, it keeps moving on me as it zooms out, that like 595. So here's the thing, I don't ever want to make guesses. I don't ever want to make assumptions. I want to see what the market tells me because honestly, I believe as traders, that is our job. I don't think our job is to make guesses and tell you guys what things are necessarily going to do. But here's the thing, Bud C and everybody and OB and world. One of the things I always notice is like if you blow through a level of support and resistance like that, especially one that held up multiple times, I think the stock loses respect for it. That being said, now that it's become support, will it become resistance again? That 602.70. I don't necessarily disagree with that assessment. So let's zoom out and see what 602.7 or zoom in, zoom out. We'll zoom. Let's zoom over to the 3-minute chart here. What does 602.70 look like? 602.70 is around here. So it was kind of honestly not a big level here for the Qs. I would say in the 3-minute, the bigger level here on the Qs was that 603.40, so up about 70 cents. That was that clear consolidation base before we quadrupled just once more. So with that in mind, people, I would like to see what it does at 603.40. I know I didn't really answer your question, Bud C, but as I said, you know, I think based on the information we have, that is, I would rather just kind of look at the data, zooming out and see potentially where we could interact. I honestly think, though, any obvious support has already been blown through. I'm going to get short Ferrari here. I already mentioned that was something that I was necessarily I was kind of considering doing, and I am going to do it. Let's go. Okay, we're going to get our stop here at, we'll do this, and let's see what happens there on Ferrari. I'm still in AMD. As I said, I'm not moving my stop. I have no interest in moving my stop until something else sets up. And Lulu. And guys, this is, I think, really the importance of not making assumptions. Because assumptions make a donkey from Shrek out of all of us, to paraphrase a term. So, like I said earlier, you know, I could have easily just I got in this Lulu trade and almost immediately it went like $1 against me. And the Adara of the past definitely would have gotten out of that right away and panicked and been like, but I don't think that's conducive because my plan for the trade was already going to be this level, so why not stay at this level? And when I say this, I'm not saying like, oh, everyone should trade this way. I don't believe in that at all. But I'm just telling you this is my system. This is why I think this way. And I think it's really important for everybody to kind of, you know, interrogate yourself. Have these questions with yourself. Figure out where you stand on things. I think this would be the best way to kind of have that growth and progression as a trader. How much did you guys lose today, says Dylan Wilson. I don't look at my P&L during the day on principle. It's not something I do. I don't want to trade off of it. I am green on Applovin, green on AMD, though I have not closed the trade yet. Lulu right now, we're slightly flat, though I haven't closed the trade. I am red on RACE, and I might lose on this trade as well. So honestly, like I said, I don't know. I was red before we started the show. Full disclosure, as we switched over, I did accidentally see my P&L. Roman, thank you very much. I don't know how, I wasn't quick to report on this one. Truthfully, I'll give Sharif and Joe credit for covering that. I was setting up for this show and I missed the Trump truth, but I am really happy I got to be here with you guys today. I'm going to give you guys a break from the show. Roving one, Adara, we're not at a cattle auction. No, we're at a stock auction, and we're buying and selling shares. But no, all jokes aside, I do talk quickly, and this is how I talk. And so I do apologize, but it is what it is. And to quote Demi Lovato, sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, no, thank you for that there. So LAC looking like it's going to stop me out once again as this market takes some more selling to the downside. Oh boy. So where the shorts at? That's what I'm asking on a day like today. I'm not really participating in any shorts just yet. So we'll see. Oklo is finally breaking down a little bit of its VWAP as of right now. So we'll take a quick look at that one in a second. I just got to bring up my chart right here. So Oklo was already on here from earlier because we were talking. Oh, I just closed the chart. Oh boy. All right, we'll just open up the other one and then we'll duplicate this one here. So LAC, yeah, that stopped me out. Yes, that stopped me out already. So LAC not really coming in as the initial reaction there as of right now. So we'll kind of figure that one out in a second. But Oklo finally breaking down that 152, this consolidation low as well. That's where we found this bid kind of start to step up as of right now. But this market, man, oh boy, are we coming in real hot? I kind of, where'd the chat go? There it is. So yeah, I want to know what you guys are actually short. Wow, there goes Oklo. There's some acceleration right through that 150. Oh boy. So shorts are very, very much in charge. We got a super chat here from Howard. So I think, thank you, Lulu, CNBC, Lulu, past CEO was talking, then that's why?
That's why it popped. That's why it popped, but it dropped with the market. And honestly, like, so what happened there was that I think it was the founder of Lululemon. But yeah, you are right there, Howard, also the past CEO. And he was just saying, oh, so we got our second fill in AMD. I only have a third left. But basically what happened there was he was basically just saying, you know, they should consider some activist involvement for Lululemon because Lululemon is on a bit of a struggle bus as of late. Its downward dog is looking a little more downward facing than you might like. So that's the deal with Lululemon. I just wanted to address that super chat, but I'll let you talk a little bit more, Obi. I've yapped quite plentiful.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I think that we got to watch out for, like I said, I'm going to be patient for the bid to show up. These are sellers that are getting very, very aggressive. So right away, I'm like, okay, well, if the market's going to do this, forget about everything else. Forget about LAC, forget about this, that, and the other. Let's trade the market, or let's observe the market itself. So let's see, which vehicle? Maybe I could do the Qs, I could do the SPY. I don't want to touch the futures. That's so maybe want a little bit more of a risk limit for touching some of those. But maybe the minis could work. The minis could work technically. But yeah, I want to take a quick look at TQs here, and maybe we can find something there on the TQs that trade on the Nasdaq, dude, not the NYSE. So we'll see what the TQs are up to today here. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Here we go. All right, so there's the chart. So straight quadunking to the downside as of right now, straight downtrend, pretty aggressive here. But I'm going to wait for anything that's distinctly different. I'm going to start observing the tape. Let's observe the tape together here, TQQQs. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, because bringing it to you here first. I was just like, oh boy, why is the market tanking? Boom, boom, boom. Tariffs, let's go, continuation happening there. So we definitely brought you the news within that first candle. And if you got with the direction, then you're sitting pretty nicely here as of right now. So we'll see what happens with these sellers, man. These sellers are absolutely aggressive. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see for these buyers to step in. Where will the buyers step in? Plunge protection team. That's who I'm looking for, because if you guys know, the plunge protection team shows up every now and then in markets. So when they do show up, maybe they're there to make some bottoms, protect some prices, play some defense. Or just step in because they think something's aggressively mispriced. So that's what I'm kind of looking for here as of right now. Okay, cool. Intel's still kind of just dropping down. I don't have anything else other than that. These sellers are so aggressive.
Yeah. I want to talk about GLD. Thank you, Daniel, for reminding us. And I apologize. I saw your message earlier and I forgot to look at it or address it, and that is my fault. GLD doing well. Is this on the Amex? Perhaps it is. Mayhaps it is. Also, guys, I only have a third left of AMD. I moved my stop to just above 2.8, kind of between 218 and 219, where we had this little pop here in the 3-minute. As I said, I was not going to move my stop until I saw a discernible lower high. That was my discernible lower high. And at that point, as I said, I'm always going to move my stops based on, has the situation changed? Where am I wrong? In that case, where I was wrong on AMD changed fundamentally. So I changed my stop. Lulu making a new low of day. I am not dancing for 50 cents. I'm dancing because I'm proud I stayed with this trade, even though it took its sweet time. Okay, I'll stop now. Thank you to Chong Lo for your Trader TV Live membership, guys. Join Trader TV Live, 100%. Daniel B is saying the stir string today for sure, but watch 370 resistance right now. And you are not wrong, Daniel. I'm going to zoom out in the 1 minute. I have liked the 1 minute lately. I don't trade off the 1 minute, but I kind of like watching the 1 minute with regards to, like, it's almost a way of reading the book on a much smaller or more visual scale. Another similar example is, like, if you're looking at the 30-second chart, right, or the 5-second chart, that's even more accurate. Daniel, I still kind of see us in an uptrend even with this 370 resistance, but is there anything on the daily? I know we're kind of near all-time highs. Okay. So I see what you mean, Daniel. There is a little bit of, this thing is kind of taking its time, but Daniel, I would honestly argue, given that we just made this little beautiful pop, then we had a bit of a pullback day yesterday. What was yesterday's high? This mouse and I are still not besties, though we got along better now. 370.50. I think if we break out of yesterday's high of 370.50, Daniel, this could be a gold sky setup. Now, I'm not trying to make any promises. I am not a genie. I'm not a magician or a genie. I am just a trader. That being said, I think that could potentially be a level for us to watch. I'm going to switch my chart back to RACE here. Alex B saying you have to use the 1 minute if you're day trading, girl. I mean, you can use multiple time frames. So I think because a lot of what I do, and for those who are not familiar, so I'm on the news desk all day, every day, and I take trades. Because I am, like, my focus is, 100% always on the news, because of that, it's a lot more conducive for me to take trades off wider time frames. So I'll take trades off the hourly, the 4 hourly even sometimes, the 30 minute, the 15 minute. And I'll use the 3 minute sometimes at the open, but that's not going to be my biggest thing. In fact, usually in the first half hour is when I'm going to use the 1 minute the most. So that's my look. Can you please look at REMX, says Jameson. Yeah, let's take a look here. REMX, and I'm just guessing here. I do not know anything about this stock, so I will look into it for you. Jameson, REMX. Oh, it's got to be Amex then? Oh, this might be a small cap. Well, I am not, Sharif, I am not adept in the small cap language. In fact, I trade stocks that can be described as the opposite. Okay, Jameson, there are some technicals here for me to work with, so I like it. This is an obvious base. This is a beautiful base at 71.30. This is a clear little top, and it's actually kind of a sneaky top because it breaks above this, I guess, kind of this consolidation high, and it fakes you above VWAP at 73.40. In fact, if you were me, you might have gotten a ghost fill a la my Ferrari trade here if you were short this because it just pops up. But either way, it does still stay below and reject that consolidation low. So I don't mind the setup at all. I do think we could maybe go lower because, yes, we're double bottoming, but we're double bottoming in a way that kind of, to me, communicates some bearishness. Yeah, I'm still green here, Lulu, green here, race car. I almost keep calling it race car. I'm green in Ferrari, and then my AMD is fine. My stop here, if we continue to make another lower high, I'll move my stop accordingly, but I don't have any reason to do that as of right now. Ferrari, I think I actually took less shares than that. I think that's because I was talking as I took my fill, and I was just like trying to quickly mental math. I should have taken a third more on this than I did. Either way, we'll be taking half the position out here around 394s because that was support and resistance on the daily. I'm not even sure we'll get there. I can obviously get stopped out before that happens, but I always like to have my profit takers in place because you really never know when something is going to hit. So I'll look at one more thing here for stocks before I send it back to our good friend Obi, and I just looked at the first ticker I saw. Actually, we'll look at two here. Check out SoFi, says Christmas for Londo, and Matt Marine says Netflix is the only, or his only stock not diving with the market. I love some flakes, to use an Obiism. I love some Netflix.
I haven't traded flakes.
Oh. I traded flakes like every day last week. I think it was my best ticker last week.
I haven't traded in a long time, but yeah, I think it's a good vehicle, especially if you're giving it appropriate risk. It does get what's the spread like that on
Netflix?
On a Netflix?
Let's look. So here's the thing too, and again,
more often than not, like on average, like how much is this?
So this is actually pretty. It's like $1. This is about $1 right now.
It's not bad for $1,000.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. And when I posted this trade in the chat last week, and I recommend don't try this at home. Now it's like $2, right? That's kind of more typical. I will take Netflix if I have something I liked pre-market and it sets them off the open, and it's in the direction I like. I will take Netflix if it's traded like 200,000 shares. And again, I'm not recommending this, but I'm being honest with you guys for the sake of transparency. I know I used to have my whole rule of like, oh, if it's under a milli, I don't look at it. Then I realized I think that's kind of reductive. And I've said now, I think if you're under a milli at this time of day, like 11:41, almost 12, I'm gonna have a bit more of an issue with that. But if you're under a milli right off the open and you're still setting up perfectly, I actually view that as, you know what? I can provide this service to the market. And yeah, we'll just keep focusing on the news. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. No. I think that's a good look there. Again, Netflix. You gotta have the right kind of I guess risk appetite as well. But regardless, it presents you with effective trades. I think it's a good one to look at here. Okay. So I did try to get long a little bit on this TQs here and stop me out, but it's coming right back in. So we can try maybe one more time here a little bit as it kind of chops around this range. But those sellers came in pretty aggressively right here. Didn't quite make it all the way to those lows. 101s was rebid there, so we're kind of starting to slow down a little bit here with respect, with relative to the kind of selling that we've been having before. Pretty aggressive, but here's the thing about this kind of action, guys. Sellers can step right back in, right? It doesn't necessarily, they don't necessarily have to kind of push all in together, because imagine if they were like, okay, we need to do all of this selling, or participants are selling, if everyone just hit the bid at the same time, well, maybe this is what the chart kind of looks like when that happens. But if they were to literally hit it at the same time, if you were like, I'm going to sell all of this, then it's just like that would not be necessarily conducive. So it's like, you know, it's kind of like an ebb and flow of that downtrend. There's a little bit of a pop there. Oh boy, buyers stepping in here. So this is the first sign of a bottom wick there on the Nasdaq and the ES. So we'll see if these 101s hold here on these TQs. 102s incoming, but this is still kind of still early in the move. I wouldn't say that we've totally started to revert yet. All I can say as of right now is maybe this is the first sign of some strong buying since that drop came in. And how much time is left on the 15-minute chart? I'm asking right now, and that's about 1 minute and 50 seconds. And so we've retraced pretty decently on this 15-minute candle here on the Nasdaq. So I'm watching some of this stuff. I'm watching these levels. Again, aggressive move, catching potentially a lot of people intraday offside, and then you know, going even lower, kind of bringing in some of that strong selling pressure through those prior lows as well across the board. Now, when everything starts to tank, you gotta remember a little bit of a feedback loop on across the board, because you know everything follows the market. The market follows the market is its constituents. It's made up by its constituents, so things can happen individually there that could affect this. Yeah, no, it might be a little bit of a feedback here. So we'll see. TQs coming in pretty nicely above 102s. I'm looking for this bar to go red to green. We only have about 50 seconds for that to potentially happen. Now, if that happens there on the Nasdaq, I like that a little bit better. So that's coming in pretty strong. We see some strength there on the TQs. If you're watching the tape, there's a lot more flurries of bright green happening here. So if you guys have been around, bright green on my tape basically means that participants are pushing into orders above the ask. So it signifies demand. It signifies demand on the tape. People are willing to push past the current available offer, and that can be information given where it's happening on the chart. So there go the TQs there. Let's see if we can get to 103s. Oh boy, we're coming in pretty hot there. I'm looking for places to add. I said I'm looking for this candle to go red to green. Guess what, guys? We are red to green right now. Now the question becomes, do buyers step back in? Is this mispricing? Did the market overreact? I don't know, but that 25,000 magnet is a little interesting. So let's see if price action will kind of revisit some of its liquidity there. And there goes my alarm, basically telling me to, you know, this is my go for a walk alarm normally at 11:45. But guess what? I've already been on my walks. I'm already chilling. I'm here with you guys, having a blast as this market is trying to blast back to the upside. So let's see.
Yeah, happy to hear it. I got stopped out of my last piece of AMD for profit. I'm chilling. I get stopped out of my other two trades. I'm going to let those just kind of chill. I'm not moving those. In my opinion, I don't really have a reason to move the stop, so that's something I might reevaluate later. And we're going to focus here on the news, because that's why we're here. I want to let you guys know, again here, BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, I just saw this come through now. They're going to be publishing September 2025 Consumer Price Index, or CPI data, on Friday the 24th. Friday, October 24th is when we will get CPI. Now, why is the market down? We all have questions. I'll take you through this post. I will do this reading of the Trump post again. Sharif did it. My voice feels better now. Let's go through this. This is why the market is moving, guys. Some very strange things are happening in China. They're becoming very hostile, sending letters to countries throughout the world. They want to impose export controls on each and every element of production, having to do with rare earths and virtually anything else they can think of, even if it's not manufactured in China. Nobody's seen anything like this. But essentially, it would clog, quote unquote, the markets and make life difficult for virtually every country in the world, especially for China. We've been contacted by other countries who are extremely angry at this great trade, capital T, hostility, which came out of nowhere. Our relationship with China over the past 6 months has been a very good one, thereby making this move on trade even more surprising one. I've always felt they've been lying in wait. And now, as usual, I have been proven right. There's no way that China should be allowed to hold the world captive, quote unquote. But that seems to be their plan for quite some time, starting with the quote unquote magnets and other elements they have quietly amassed into somewhat of a monopoly, capital M position, a rather sinister and hostile move, to say the least. But the US has monopoly, capital M, positions also, much stronger and more far-reaching than China's. I have just chosen not to use them. There was never a reason to do so. Until now, all caps. The letter they sent is many pages long and details with great specificity each and every element, capital E, they want to withhold from other nations, capital N. Things that were routine are no longer routine at all. I have not spoken to President Xi because there was no reason to do so. This was a real surprise, not only to me, not only to me, but to all the leaders of the free world. I was to meet President Xi in 2 weeks at APEC in South Korea, but now there seems no reason to do so. And that is key, guys, before I get back to the rest of the dramatic reading. But now we're back. The Chinese letters were especially inappropriate in that this was the day that, after 3,000 years of bedlam and fighting, there is, all caps, peace in the Middle East. I wonder if that timing was coincidental. Dependent on what China says about the hostile quote-unquote order they have just put out, I will be forced as President of the United States of America to financially counter their move. And guys, here's the other important part here. For every element they've been able to monopolize, we have two. I've never thought it would come to this, but perhaps, as with all things, the time has come. Ultimately, though potentially painful, it will be a very good thing in the end for the USA. One of the policies that we are calculating in this moment is a massive increase of tariffs, capital T, on Chinese products coming into the United States of America. There are many other countermeasures that are likewise under serious consideration. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, sorry guys for the dramatic read. I had fun with it, and I think it's probably more fun than just reading it flat to you guys. At least it was more fun for me. So I just
like I was.
Hello.
Sorry. I was coughing earlier, so I was a little muted. But yeah, no, I felt like I was sitting right beside Trump there. So
I mean, I feel like we all were, but no.
It's crazy. Like he obviously has a lot to say.
Yes.
And the markets definitely have a lot to digest from what he said as well. So.
Right. That's why I wanted to say it. And again, I want to mention, guys, quick news tip from Adara, your local news hobbit, as I mentioned earlier. I feel like the news desk is my personal little Hobbit Hill hole where I get to just chill and look at news for you guys. But I do want to mention here, in all seriousness, here's my like little crib notes, cheat note for reading Trump posts. They're really long. Go to the end. The stuff you really need to know is going to be at the very end, guys. And I'm being like, all jokes aside, I'm being really serious. If you go back to his post, ending the liberation tariffs for 90 days, guess what? The thing you need to know was in the last sentence. And it's always right before thank you for your attention to this matter. So you know what you do? You scroll through this post, you find the thank you for your attention to this matter, and then you go, okay, what's right above it? Well, what's right above it is the massive increase of tariffs, right? And then the other thing here is that there now seems no reason to meet President Xi. Trump is, in terms of his writing style, in terms of his rhetorical style, which I actually think is really important if we're going to kind of look at the news and try to analyze his communications when things come out and you're trying to figure out why the market's moving, guys. What you have to realize is how Trump writes and communicates. He will front load things with a lot of context and a lot of information, which is important to know after. But if we're just trying to figure out why the market's moving, what you need to know is what is all of this context leading up to. So skip to the end. That is always, that's my take on that. And thank you guys for the positive response to my reading. I only did it because, you know, we sit here and we read a lot of stuff, and I think that makes it more fun for everybody. But no, I'm going to send it back to Obi. I do want to let you guys know, though, I am of the opinion for Bill Ackman and Trump, if they could get like a nice little proofreader or a ChatGPT to read their posts like before they send them, I'd appreciate it. Not like there's grammatical issues, they're just really long, and I have to read them. So guys, just help me out. I'll send it over to you, Obi.
So thank you very much, Adara there. So 103s here on the TQ. So it does seem like we're catching a little bit of a bid here, and 103 is coming back in. So I'm just looking at price structure. But more importantly, I got eyes on that 25,000 on the Nasdaq. That's been a bit of a magnet. Oh boy, there it is. A little bit of a blast to the past. Blast to the past. Yeah, maybe about 30 minutes ago, where we were trading at these prices here. So 103.40s here now on the Nasdaq, or the TQs, if you want to call them that. 104s. Let's see if that can potentially come in as well. I forgot I was posted a little bit higher, and I was like, oh boy, it went straight to 103 halves. I think. What was that? at, yeah, 103 halves, and oh boy. So buyers are definitely here. I was sitting here with you guys. I was patient. Everyone was like, why aren't you in a trade? Why aren't you in a trade? Guess what? I like to catch the reversion, and I was like, there is no reason for me to be here because sellers are very much in charge. Why the hell would I want to buy when sellers are kind of pushing into the bid? But when the buyers are start to gain control, I definitely want to participate with them. When the tape is distinctly different from before, I definitely want to participate with them. When people start stepping on the bid and start pushing and chasing the price up, I want to step in with them as well. So I think it's a good look there. Let's see if these 103s hold. I think I'm going to piece off a little bit here if we're going to chop out. But again, it could take all day. I have no idea, but that 25,000 does look very pretty to me. We'll see if that potentially comes in. All right, I'm going to take out most of it here. Just holding on to a little bit of a breadcrumb as of right now. If structure holds above 103s, if this candle closes green on the Nasdaq, and if we start to push a little bit higher towards that 25,000, maybe we shall see if we can kind of build more into this TQ. So that's kind of what's going through my head right now. That's just my opinion. Let's see if it potentially comes in. I got to make sure I don't have any offers out, just so it doesn't flip me on this, because like I said before, I did get out majority. I would say over 90% of that push from the 101 change all the way to 103s. Let's see if we get that continue. Continue the uptrend here. So Unkit in the with the super chat. So thank you very much. Can we see all you guys' positions at the same time? So all your guys' positions at the same time. So here's the thing. I'm seeing. I think it's right there. There you go. At the bottom,
they just mean like maybe
all the
hosts.
traders. Yeah, but I don't think they're necessarily participating in the market right now. So I think that's another thing as well. So I mean, you get to see our positions as we're trading them. So I think that's pretty decent if you ask me. But yeah, maybe we can come up with something like that. We used to have that second. I think we used to have a second stream that would show Sean and Neil's positions while the boys on the midday were on. So I think that we kind of retired that as well as of right now. So yeah, there's some sellers coming in right now. That candle just goes green to red with about 5 minutes left, 5 minutes and 40 seconds ish as well. So we'll keep eyes on that. I'm going to give it time to digest, give it room. I like where I entered on this. I like the action there. You can even see I like the action into this selling after those buyers came in, because I'm like trying to catch that dip that's potentially higher, looking for buyers to step in because buying was distinctly different in and around here. And oh boy, here we go, a little bit of a sustain of that 103 level. Let's see if we can get that continuation, that candle now going back from red to green. I think we're going to do a little bit more of a dance from that green to red a little bit on this Nasdaq. Because sometimes the moves, like ideally, I'm looking for symmetry in the market. We've talked about this before. And some of the best reversions, like V-shape recoveries, if you want to call them, or whatever have you, they are pretty symmetrical, relatively speaking, roughly speaking. And some of the best reversions are kind of exhibit that behavior on the intraday, on the higher time frame as well. I pointed out a long time ago, I pointed out Meta as well. Meta had that strong quadunk all the way down and it was lagging behind, and then strong V-shaped recovery that took us to all-time highs and pushed us even higher. So okay, so some selling stepping right back into the market. Now the reference flow becomes down here because we talked about real risk yesterday. This is where buyers stepped in aggressively, just shy of 24,700 here on the Nasdaq. Now, if they're going to continue to step in, I'm like, okay, real risk is down here, in my opinion. If I'm looking for the continuation move right away, maybe I'm risking current bar low, or I'm risking a red to green, some price action, whatever. But it seems like sellers are maybe stepping back in. I have no idea. What do you guys got on watch? Let me know in the chat so we can cover some of that as well. And yeah, I don't have eyes on everything, and I'm looking for the next trade. So maybe you guys can help me find that as well.
Yeah, look high and low for the next trade. Yeah, thank you guys for the comments there about my dramatic reading. No, I want to clarify. I didn't mean anything by it. I wasn't trying to be whatever way. Honestly, what I thought is it's just a really long post, and I think it might be more fun for all of us if we just kind of, act it out. So again, I do apologize for any offense, but I had Hope you guys had fun with it because it was a pretty fun time for me. I just got back in this AMD short. I know I got stopped out earlier, but here's the thing. I got in on that 221 breakdown. Why wouldn't I want the 221 retest and reject?
Yeah.
In my opinion, I would. Yeah. So I just got in. I'm going to trade pretty passively here, guys. Basically just continuing to look at the same tickers and react accordingly. What I said earlier was like, I guess, or yesterday, I called it like maintenance phase, just kind of checking on my bibis, making sure their hair is all brushed and good.
Nice.
You know, sending them off to the mall.
Active position management or like slightly passive position management?
Yeah, slightly passive.
Yeah.
Like I have my eye on things.
You're just maintaining. You're just like, okay,
Exactly.
Is everything behaving?
Yes.
Is everything acting in accordance, or is one of the bibis acting up? Right. That's what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really what I mean. Right. Just make sure it's good. Yeah, shout out. Thank you to guy at LAX for the Masterpiece Theater reference. Yeah, I mean, you know, I was a theater kid, so gotta give the shout outs sometimes. Appreciate the real-time news, says also Rocky. We give you guys that real-time news. So again, I did my dramatic reading, but let's actually talk about how the markets moved on that too, because the reason, again, I think that post is crucial is that's really the post that led to the move in the market. Obi, I want to shout him out for covering rare earths move on that, because minerals and materials and elements were mentioned several times by Trump in that post. And Obi had the LAC trade. So obviously these minerals are going to be strong on this, right? Here's IBIT. Now, I was curious because I know gold continued to rally regardless of that move with the market. I was wondering, like, hey, is our good pal crypto going to be moving on this? Because I know crypto has been in some ways, especially with the government shutdown, viewed as a safe haven, right? So I was like, will it be safe haven here? No. IBIT was just like, today decided to be part of the Nasdaq. That's what I find so funny about crypto, and I've said this before. Some days it likes to behave like its own, you know, fun little independent star child. Other days it is like, I am the Nasdaq's little brother, or big brother. It doesn't matter. The point I'm trying to make is I find crypto to be really finicky in that way, and I think it is something worth noting, something that I always watch too. Like, just A, is crypto behaving with the market, or is it behaving on its own? And B, are the crypto tickers behaving on their own, or are they behaving with crypto? And with that in mind, let's take a look at some of them. MSTR, yeah, down. Wow, MSTR, beautiful drop. Coinbase, a stock that I think I meant to look at today and forgot about. Oh, it didn't do what I wanted anyway. So, wow, Coinbase down $40 from this high. You had that short, I have to give you props. This also looks like it could be a decent reversion. But either way here, yeah, I mean, COIN. The point I'm trying to make is these crypto tickers actually look identical to the market, and they look identical to IBIT. So I guess what that answers to my question, my multiple part question is, crypto was trading with the market, and its associated tickers are trading with the market. They're all trading together. They're a big happy family, all trading in tandem. So it does need to decouple, said Jameson. I'm going to be honest, I don't know enough about the decoupling or the arguments for decoupling or not decoupling. And guys, please let me know what these arguments are, because I want to be more educated and more aware on these ways. So I would really like to know that. Feels like the whole crypto market is in indecision at the moment, says Zabo. Let's take a look here and see what our pal Ethereum is doing. Ignore my spaghetti charts. Okay, so Ethereum. Actually, okay, let's take a look at Bitcoin to see. Yeah, Ethereum and Bitcoin, again, looking pretty similar. But I see what you mean, Zabo. It's like a lot of these are near all-time highs, especially, you know, Ethereum and Bitcoin, and they just kind of, they're at this point where, do we continue to go higher? Do we pull back a bit? They're kind of like in their puberty phase of, you know, trading. And I hate that I use that analogy, but that's kind of how I feel, right? So that is, that's my little rant on that. Guys, much like Opie said, tell us if you want to know tickers, but especially for me, because I'm so happy to be here with you guys, and I mostly talk about news. I want to know if you guys have any news questions. Like questions, Adara, how do you find news? How do you decide what news is important? You know, how do you decide what to dramatically interpret? No, but all jokes aside, just ask me questions. I do want to let you guys know, OpenAI and Sur Energy apparently signing a letter of intent for up to $25 billion data center project in Argentina. That's according to the Argentine government, so this is confirmed. Either way, interesting look there for our good friend OpenAI, making deals, signing checks, and taking names. What you looking at over there, Obi?
No, we're just having a conversation about this the rare earth, like the tweets that are happening. I'm kind of scouring all the sources for being like, all right, what are some of the stocks that are holding up right now? I want to know what those are as well. Let's see. So Nothing too crazy here as of right now, but I was pointing out Oklo, right? Oklo was one of the only ones that did hold up. ALB, QS saying people, yeah, let me know what also held up. So QS actually cared about the dump, so you can see that that's there. ALB, let's see. So ALB, boom, boom, boom. We'll see. No, that's not really holding up as well. APLD was moving in the morning, but that tanked as well. You can see, look at that tank city off of that. Yeah, Derek saying MP. So yeah, some of the metals companies for sure, because think about it, that's what that catalyst was based off of. It was like, you know what I mean? Like they had a direct relation to some of these rare earth companies. So therefore, as the market dropped, these ones popped up, and they went they did about an inverse, kind of like an inverse fashion. They moved in an inverse fashion, is what I'm trying to say here. But stuff like OKLO right here, this is a nuclear name, right? If I remember correctly. Yeah, there you go. So it's one of those reactors, and this one didn't really care. It's not part of that, the rare earths, right? So that's what I'm looking for. I know the rare earths and the metals companies and the TMCs and all those guys, they're ripping. They had a bid. LAC had a little bit of a bid too. Some of them stronger than others. That's not what I'm talking about. Those are directly related to the catalyst that we just had. I'm talking about stocks that are unrelated and they didn't care. So those are the ones I'm looking for here. So SMR, right, of course. So maybe this whole sector is looking somewhat similar here. Okay, no, this SMR actually cared, dude. Look at that. So Oklo right away, that's giving me a lot of information about the relative strength on Oklo. It was barely able to, sure, it retraced about 50% of its move on the day. It was already doing relative volume. So that's showing me that, yeah, this is really, really strong, man. So I want to take a higher time frame look at this one. We'll go to the weekly. And see what this one's been up to. And oh boy, all-time highs on Oklo on that move today. So pretty strong stuff.
I think we have an ad read here, Obi. So we're going to thank our friends over here at Plus 500. Are you looking for a futures trading platform that actually delivers without hidden costs? With Plus 500 futures, you get free live charts, transparent fees, low margins, and unlimited demos so you can practice until you're ready to trade live. Open an account and start trading with as little as $100. Plus 500's powerful platform. You can access a wide range of futures markets, S&P 500, Nasdaq, Bitcoin, gas, Forex, metals, crypto, and more, all in one place. Plus, enjoy a welcome bonus of up to $200 in commission-free trading. Just scan the QR code on screen to apply for your account today. And join over 30 million users worldwide who have already chosen Plus 500. There we go. That is the ad read. I didn't want to mean to put out your analysis.
No worries. I think that was good. Thank you. No, I was pretty much done. Anyways, I'm just saying the weekly was looking pretty strong here, and we get that continuation. So the breakout level today was, let's see, there was a high of 144 halves. Okay, boom. That's not on the right window. 144 halves, and let's see how that potentially came in. We'll go down to a three-minute time frame here, and let's see how that kind of acted on the way up. So what was that? 144. 144 is in some change. Whoa, look at that right there. Nice little chop. So on that initial push, goes to 145, pulls back in. This is where I was kind of looking at it, and then I looked away because I was like, all right, well maybe so I was looking at it for the reversion, and I'm like, this is the first pullback, and with the way this held, I was like, nope, I don't want to revert this. And then I kind of looked away, and oh boy, that was a great decision because look at what it did. 146 is all the way to a high a day of 161s, but that 44 and change breakout was a place to look, and then maybe this breakout is the place to execute on the day, right? It's like, all right, cool. Maybe you're getting some in on the initial push because maybe you're like, if this goes, this is going to go. But, higher time frame, maybe we take a little bit of a chop in and around this area because there might be some liquidity sitting just in and around those prior all-time highs. So that happens for a little bit, but strength steps right back in and boom to the upside. So Oklo is good. So Nicholas in the chat, thank you for the super chat, saying, Joe Obi, did we break trend more down next week? Question mark. Okay, so you're talking about bigger picture trend. Did we break trend? All right, so let me see if the reversion is on. We can just go straight up to something like, you know what, we'll go to, has it been 15 minutes? Yeah, because some of this stuff is delayed. I'm going to go to straight up the Nasdaq futures here. So let's see, we'll go on a weekly because with the kind of frame this stuff trades on, oh boy, would you look at that. You tell me, does this look like a break of trend to you? We haven't even broken prior bar low, even though that's within the nature of this vehicle, right? To do that and then continue. So we haven't broken that. We haven't broken any moving averages. I can tell right off of the bat. That's a very well within trend, right? Even if you draw a line, even if you are like, okay, breakout from here, hold, consolidation, uptrend, still well within range, but we're chopping around this 25,000 mark, like I pointed out. So that's what I'm watching here. So did we break trend? I don't think so. The chart is telling me that we haven't technically broken trend, even though sellers have been pretty aggressive in this area over the past couple of weeks, right? We've only been knocking on the door of 25,000 since about the second or third week of September, right? For about 3 weeks. 3 weeks, right there. 3 bars on the weekly. So that's when we came into the 25, came back in, and then in intraday and those days in between the weeks, yeah, we've been chopping it up and kind of using that as maybe a little bit of a magnet. But what do I know? It could all just be chop in the uptrend, and that 25 is just, I'm just fixated on it because I like quarters, right? At the end of the day, I gotta be aware of my biases and what I'm thinking about, and then also take a step back and know that I'm aware of the biases as well. I don't know how to explain that. But yeah, I always like to kind of take one step outside of myself to be like, all right, what am I really thinking, and why am I doing that? But I think in terms of, to answer your question here, no break of trend on the Nasdaq. Let's check the ES as well. Is there a break of trend on the ES? And oh boy, okay, no break of trend here as well. You tell me, have we broken trend? I don't think so. We are well within range of all of this. So we shall see. Let's see. So it's a good thing that I got out of the TQs because, again, it was looking like the buyers stepped in, and they definitely did. But guess what? Those buyers dissipated, and we're going to chop. And like I said earlier, I don't know how long it's going to take to revert back into this 25,000, but it could very well take all day, and we could revisit some of these references at 101s and even some of this wick action as well. That's one iteration of the reversion. But there's so many different ways we could potentially do this, or we could also fail. Right, we could also fail the reversion, would trade back below 101s. The Nasdaq breaks back below that 24.7, and then we continue to push a little bit lower. So I don't know. I'm just kind of, you try to imagine all the different ways that price can kind of carry out, and then you're just like, okay, what's the likelihood of this happening? What are the probabilities? And then you kind of go forward and maybe make some decisions from there. What are you looking at right now?
Yeah, I'm still in my trades. I have nothing to report there. Like I said, I'm going to focus more right now on giving the news to you guys. I'm just going to keep babysitting my children. But let's talk here about PGTX. Yeah. So this news, I just saw this headline come in now, but I'm guessing like this move already seemed to have happened earlier. Wall Street Journal reporting that Johnson & Johnson is reportedly in talks to buy Protagonist Therapeutics. This is Protagonist Therapeutics. That moved up. I just wanted to address that because that happened. We did have another super chat that I don't think we mentioned. So we had Control Alt Escape. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat.
Thank you.
Was short AMD from 229.
Boom.
What a lucky day. Congratulations to you, seriously. All the flowers. That is awesome. I got into that trade much later on the breakdown, so 229 was like the level to have that. Congrats to you. Then the second part of the super chat, though. What next 7 levels are you guys eyeballing for dip buys? Honestly, right now, like, I don't know. I don't really think of trading from a long-term perspective. I'm very much someone who views it more intraday, so I don't know if I'm the person to ask here. In terms of intraday, I don't really think any of these are at a pickup level. Like, I was just Tam Panda in the chat like a couple minutes ago, I guess, asking me if I thought Tesla was a head and shoulders. And at that point, Tesla just kind of done all this action, so it was only like this part. And yeah, I mean, we certainly did have like a little bit of that scoop down and then kind of matching consolidation. But I think right now, you get that wick up and then you kind of come back down. I don't think anything's ready for a dip buy, at least from this perspective intraday. Now, if I zoom out, and again, this is not, it's hard because basically all of these are like at or near all-time highs anyway, right? Like NVIDIA's near all-time highs. Google, close enough. Apple, maybe Apple, what levels are you coming into? The thing is too, though, Control Alt Escape, I don't want to force any kind of dip buy levels just because I feel like I have to, answer the question a certain way either, right? That being said, Apple, I think there's some quite clear support at that 244 level, although this is P8, so I can't tell if all of these are like real wicks. Either way, that 240 level was also resistance, right? So maybe 240, but this is kind of a rounded top too, so I don't know if I would just blindly say press 240. I'd maybe be a little cautious there. That's my take on that. Someone was like, why aren't they looking at rare earth plays? Those are the stocks that are popping. I do want to shout out Obi. He had an LAC trade.
I'm watching MP.
Oh, we got another super chat. Thank you very much to D. Westermeyer. 199 super chat. Just made 1.5K on GVH Trader TV watch list. Yeah, congrats to that. Yeah, a lot of these small cap watch list stickers, to be honest, they go in one ear, out the other. That's GVH. This is okay. I don't know if that's the right ticker. Maybe it is. It's just super halty. I don't know. But
GVH.
Is that the ticker?
Oh no, that doesn't.
I wrote the watch list. Let me check my watch list now. But yeah, either way, congratulations to you, D. Westermeyer, for that fantastic trade. And that is GWH. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I was like,
I was deeply confused. George Washington Homes. No, I'm joking. It's S Tech is the name of the company. But GWH, I'll check the NYSE and then the Amex. NYSE, okay, nice. Wow, oh my gosh, this is actually beautiful.
Nice.
Congrats on that, D. Westermeyer. Like, that's a beautiful rounded bottom. Then we pop. Maybe we do a VWAP consolidation, much more of a Sharif type of trade, though actually it's not because it's below the pre-market high. So this is still violating his rules. But I do have to congratulate you on that awesome trade there for D. Westermeyer. Great job with your trade. I was going to say something, and it's gone. Yeah, no, I don't have any. I wish I had updates on my own trades. They're just chilling. Oh, yeah, I was going to look at that. Dylan in the chat was, why aren't you guys looking at these rare earths? Let's take another look here at rare earths. Honestly, I think the move on these, unfortunately, is kind of petered out. So LAC, I know you were involved in that one. Rocket up, come right back down. What CRML we'll take a look at. Unfortunately, I don't really know what index some of these are on, so I'm going to be switching. CRML is not bad. I think there's an obvious uptrend here from the lows, and I think the VWAP hold is beautiful. I think technically this looks a lot better than LAC. I'd like to see it hold VWAP. What about our good friend MP, materials? What material is in this trade? Okay, never mind. Let me see, NYSE. What material is this made of? This is made of, wow, that's beautiful. Yeah. VWAP hold. Okay, so this, honestly, to me, what this shows is not that LAC is indicative of the group. LAC is the laggard in this group, guys.
That's what that is.
MP, beautiful VWAP bounce. CRML, also a beautiful VWAP bounce. And then USA, thank you to DCO Digital, USAR, and UUU. So let's check out you, Soldier Boy, tell him in a minute. Let's start here with USAR. Crank that, Soldier Boy. Okay, so USAR, will it load? USAR also holding VWAP. Wow, these are beautiful, OB. Oh, one less U than I need. Here we go, final U. And I'm wrong about the index. Okay. Yeah, for some of these rare mineral ones, if you guys don't mind dropping the index for me too, so that I just know where they are. And you don't have to include it with like the $ ticker because I don't want it to mess with the voting, which by the way, guys, just mentioned your tickers, and the tickers that get the most votes will be covered in the afternoon show. But you guys, that's a little sneaky dude. Oh, I just did a pushback so powerful it unplugged my Unity. So this UUU is a bit different. It's still an uptrend like the other ones I mentioned, but unlike USAR, CRML, or MP, it didn't bounce at VWAP. It pulled a little sneaky thing, and it bounced just below VWAP. That's pretty interesting. And I think that's also another tricky example.
Relatively strong, right?
Right? And I think it's relatively strong. And I think another example, like my faded race car trade, I'm joking, Ferrari, when you're kind of playing around these VWAP areas, be very careful because you can get a little bit slipped out or wicked out or whatever and have things get a little bit messy. But yeah, I think, honestly, of these, I agree, UUU looked really good, USAR looked really good, and I kind of preferred MP to CRML. Adaralicious says Edwin Mike. I don't know what that one means, but I mean, like Fergalicious, I don't know. Yeah, but which is, I mean, shout out to Fergie because Glamorous is my go-to karaoke song, and I will not apologize. Nice. Yeah. So there we go.
Song in a long while.
Yeah. Good vibes. How are you doing over here?
Not bad. I kind of starting to dabble a little bit more in the TQs here, but this is not, I don't know. I don't really feel too strongly about it, but I do want to participate a little bit here. But yeah, no, looking at that race, for the past couple of days, it has not been really good at, it's a performante. So,
I don't know that reference.
That was bad. So a Ferrari Performante is like a model.
And a performance.
So it's Performante hasn't been well for the past couple of crickets indeed. Thank you very much. See, I'm not as good as you as at executing some of these puns, but let's try to execute some of these trades.
I knew where that was going
right now. So we'll see. Oh boy. All right, TQs, you're gonna step back in. All right. Well, I don't necessarily want to be around for too long if that's gonna happen. So thank you. Come again. We're gonna trade back below 102s, and sellers are gonna step in. Nasdaq just goes green, a little green or red there on the day, and sellers are definitely stepping in. Like, you can see them coming in because of the distinct difference, especially if you're staring at how the buyers are kind of attempting. All I'm looking for really is just like, a lot of the tape is just straight up noise most of the time, right? Except for when you get very strong directionality based off of a catalyst like this, then I can stare it down and be like, all right, I don't know what's going on, but sellers are definitely in charge. We see a lot of red, dark reds, and dark reds are people who are selling below the bid. So that shows you, I guess, seller demand or supply strength, or however you want to say it. The sellers are aggressive, and they are willing to pay past the buyers to kind of push their position. So I think that's information as well. So seeing those come in, I call it reading the rainbow, because sometimes things can be sweet, like the Skittles. But 102s holding as of right now. What's up?
I was just thinking about the Canada Day Skittles when they were red and white.
Yeah. That was interesting. Yeah. So we there's no tasting the rainbow there. There's no rainbow to taste there. But there's definitely some rainbow here on the tape. Bright greens, dark reds, yellows and greens, and reds as well. So I like that. Mike P, the writer, saying I'm a sucker for Skittles and Starburst. Dude, I haven't had Starburst in the longest time. Starburst is an old one. So Smarties are they're like a Canadian version of kind of like M&Ms, but distinctly different, right? So it was funny I'm pretty sure in kindergarten, core memory, right? This kid would always eat Smarties like the whole time, and I would ask him, I was like, why are you eating Smarties all the time? And
he wanted to be smarter?
Exactly. So he was like, they're gonna make me smart. They're gonna make me smarter. And that's what he used to say. And since then, I was like,
that's kind of adorable.
I'm very much an M&M's person, though.
I also want to psychoanalyze that child, but I'm not going to do that right now because I don't know him. But you know what we will do? Thank our friends at Beta Pro by Global X Canada. Because we have some exciting news out of Canada for the sophisticated traders on the stream.
Boom.
Beta Pro by Global X Canada, Canada's largest provider of leverage, inverse, and inverse leveraged ETFs, lots of leverage, guys, has just launched 6 new triple leveraged ETFs offering 3x bull and 3x bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60 semiconductors and U.S. Treasuries. But even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 bips until December 31st, 2025, not 31. Plus, the U.S.-focused strategies are use currency hedging, offering the potential for pure performance and exposure. So if you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca/3x daily to learn more. Chung chung. So there we go. That is the Beta Pro ad read. I did not mean to cut you off there, Obi.
No, you did not cut me off at all there. When we got to get to business, got to get to business, right? And then we can get back to having a good time as well. So let's see what else is going on here. So this was my basket this morning. Let me. I got to do a little bit of this here. Okay, so I can pull in my basket. There's nothing that I don't want to show. I'm just going to make sure. Okay, cool, nice. So this was my basket this morning. I was looking at Oracle, I was looking at Intel, I was looking at IONQ, I was looking at NVIDIA, I was looking at APLD, I was looking at Amazon, Apple, and CoreWeave, and they're all literally kind of doing the same thing right now, just kind of extended off of the open and trading much lower. Again, alongside with the rest of the market, CoreWeave might be a little bit stronger than the rest. We saw that strength come in the morning session right off of the open on CoreWeave. I didn't necessarily participate. By the time I saw it, I was like, oh boy, this thing is gone. But here's the thing: I should have stayed involved, and I should have stayed involved with, at the very least, watching it because of the reversion reversion that came in. Here's the thing, man, those things were up pretty crazy. And if I participated in the reversion, I didn't know that the market was going to tank, but I would have definitely been holding because it never really got back down to VWAP by that time, or back down to some reference prices that I would probably be holding something that ridiculously strong back into for the reversion, and I didn't. Wasn't in a place to get lucky. So I think that's something I do need to think about, is being like, all right, well, when stuff is going crazy, it's imperative that I place myself in those positions that actually align, and in those trades that align with my outlook and my playbook and personality as well on the market. And whenever things kind of go on a run a little bit, I'm a little bit skeptical. I'll let you know I'm a little bit contrarian at heart, because I'm just like, okay, well, sure, it's doing this right now, but the question, I might be a little bit more distrustful as well, because I'm just like, okay, well, whoever's buying right now, whoever's selling right now, I want to be on the other side of this because this is obviously unusual. And that's kind of the mindset I take on some of these moves here. So is it in line with normal behavior, or is it unnatural? So that's the question. And if it's unnatural, the question becomes, when, if it starts to behave again, what's the probability of us reverting if we do think we're mispriced? So I don't know if you guys follow along. Sometimes I get rambling. Canadian rare earths are actually beating the US? Yes, I think so. Julian, I think some of those Canadian, I mean, you gotta look at the TSX. TSX is at all-time highs. Our banks are pretty much going crazy right now. There's the Toronto markets are very, very strong. All-time highs on a lot of things. Very strong on metals and resources as well. I think railways. We got some Bombardier as well. I talked to you guys about that swing position. I don't know how that's doing. I haven't really looked at it in a minute here, but yeah, there's a lot of strong Canadian stocks, and if you have been involved in the Canadian market, it's been pretty solid. Yeah, like this is a swing. I was talking to the boys about this, that I am in, but I've been holding this swing for about 4 years, right? So 4 years. I got into Bombardier pretty long time ago because, you know, I like the chart, I like what it was doing, and guys, this is a weekly chart. 4 years ago, I got in and around here. I think it was 21, 22-ish. I think I might have bought in here. Yeah, I think in and around 21, 22. I think that's, yeah, that sounds about right. It was in and around $20, sub $20 even. So you can see how over time, over the past couple of years, Bombardier has gone pretty much parabolic here as of right now over the past couple of months. Right? Let's take a look at the TSX as well. Just the TSX composite. So this is kind of like, you know, the ES or the Nasdaq for Toronto stocks. So we'll look at the TSX composite and take a look at this, right? 30,000. We're pretty much at all-time highs. Stocks only go up. So the Canadian market is absolutely beautiful, and it's going long and strong. So shout out to anybody who's involved in some of these. And you guys got to remember, wherever you're from around the world, foreign markets, if you can get involved with some foreign markets, and if your broker lets you get involved, there you will expand your array of opportunities on the swing. You can start following, you know, world politics and like different business decisions and, you know, trade decisions and stuff like that. And if you have access to world markets, it really does open up your scope. I think that's something you want to look for. And you know, there's all sorts of markets all around the world that I definitely want to be involved with it, especially like the Indian stock market. I don't know if you've heard, but that stock market's been going absolutely, yeah, the Nifty 50. Yeah. So it's like that thing's been going absolutely crazy as well. There's a lot of opportunity. The IPOs were so crazy. I remember talking to Rahim Malani when he was here about some of the IPOs that were happening, and he was like, "Yo, they're crazy. They're like super oversubscribed. People are struggling to get you know, allocations on some of those IPOs. You have to overbid your allocations like crazy, and maybe you only get a certain percentage of it. So there's markets. Those markets are absolutely wild. And someone's saying, "Oh, bro, India is tracking down." Yeah. So if we already had the run up, guess what? The backside might be really nice as well if things were going absolutely bananas last year. So that's the thing. What I mean to say is, like, you got to open up your scope. If you're a trader, you're a trader. It doesn't matter whether you're trading American stocks or Canadian stocks or you know, Indian stocks or European stocks or Swiss stocks or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, what other markets are there? Australian stocks. We got South American stocks. So any and every continent has a stock market pretty much, and you want to go where the opportunities are. So being with a broker that gives you that access, like we have here at Real Trading, is absolutely beautiful. You cannot find that in many places, and we have the pleasure and the privilege to kind of trade a lot of different markets across the world. So I got to do a little bit better with that. I don't necessarily day trade them, but I know for a fact that sometimes I look at these charts and I'm like, oh boy, the intraday looks absolutely beautiful. And these markets might even be less efficient than the New York and Nasdaq because of how much volume the New York and Nasdaq do. So it's like, yeah, Chemical Reaction Man saying, I watched Obi trade Amazon for a full year. Oh boy, you know what? No regrets, because Amazon taught me price action. Amazon taught me a lot of things. I knew. People were like, yo, you're not going to make money doing that. I'm like, I know, I'm not trying to make money doing that. I'm trying to learn price action on one vehicle and really get into the nuances of how it moves when it's not in play, how it moves when it is in play, how it moves when it does a fugaze, how it moves when it's stuck in a range. So that's not, you're not going to really capture that information. Maybe I did it in an inefficient way. Who knows? I don't know. I was just like, I just had me, myself, and I was like, all right, we're going to try to learn something, and I'm going to try to learn. Looking around, who is the best mentor? The market is the best mentor. And Mother Market, I think, has been teaching me well. I have a lot to learn. I don't know a lot of things, but she keeps on humbling me every single day. So that's the beautiful thing about Mother Market. She is the best mentor.
That's what she does. And I mean, if you think about it too, Obi, and this is going to be a really hot take, but I'm going to say it. For us here in Canada, the US is already trading an international market, right? In a way. Now, obviously, that is, and that's the thing, is that we're not denigrating international markets, and I think that's the whole point. Like, you can trade from wherever you are. If you guys are in the US and you trade Canadian markets, that is an international market for you, right? Even though we're right next door over. And the reason I make that comparison is the part that really stuck with me about what you said there, Obi, was that, oh, you trade an international market, you follow their politics, you figure out everything that's moving. And that's when I realized I know way more about just like U.S. politics than I do about Canadian politics, because I have to follow it to understand the market. So I want to give that one a shout out, and I think that's a really good point. And I know that might be a controversial opinion. Maybe I don't think it should be, but yeah, I think just understanding the culture of what you're trading is, I think, incredibly important. Julian L. Saying I'm ahead of puck over the border. I mean, maybe you skate. That would actually be pretty funny. You've got a hockey net right in between the border. I do not know how Border Patrol would feel about that, but you never know if you don't find out. No, I'm joking. Okay, so
what's that?
Thank you very much to Jag for the kind words there for my my shorting. I don't know if I have guts, Jag. Truthfully, I don't feel like at all uneasy with any of these trades. I just took positions that I believed in, with confluence that I had conviction in, and I followed my plan. That's really all I did, and that's why I haven't gotten out of any of these either. I did get stopped out of AMD, to be clear, but then I re-entered, and then I actually added. My stop on AMD has not moved. I will sometimes add like a really small percentage of the position if I'm not moving my stop, if I still think the trade is good, but I'm not sure if the risk has changed. I don't like doing that, and I find sometimes it can work against me. Here in AMD, I felt safe doing it, so I did it. Ferrari, we're like, what, 50 cents in the money? I'm not here to trade however much I'm in the money. I'm here to take quality trades. I'm like roughly flat on all three of these, but in my opinion, their stories are not over, and I'm not wrong. So I don't mean I could be wrong, but at this point, the market doesn't show me I'm wrong, and that's what I mean why I'm not wrong. I'm not saying I'm permanently right, but we always say, right, like your stop should be, where are you wrong? In this case, I am not incorrect on these trades yet. You could be out of the money and still, you're not wrong yet. You haven't been, without a doubt, been proven wrong. Your conviction hasn't been proven incorrect. If I had my Law and Order button over here, I'd press it, chung chung, because that is how I feel, right? You need to wait for that strong conviction. All you can have is, until you have the conviction from the market, the only conviction you have has to come from within. And that comes from, again, taking stocks that you believe in, taking trades that make sense. I do apologize, guys. I haven't really been actively trading much here because I'm trying to focus on making sure we get the news coverage for you guys. And that's why I really haven't done too much. But also, Trump budget director, speaking of news, Russell Vogt, sorry guys, saying that the layoffs have begun. So they are doing some layoffs here. There we go. Let's talk here about, I do want to apologize to RFID Trader mentioning 2 of these rare earth stocks that I missed earlier, and I apologize, RECE, REEC. REEC here, wow. I talked about this rare earth bounce off VWAP, and look, AREC joins that club with criminal, Deborah Sharifism, CRML, and USAR. And MP, where they all bounced off VWAP so cleanly. This is beautiful. LAC, get out the club. You were near high of day, almost said day high, and I couldn't decide what I was trying to say there. You were almost near day high, but you still didn't bounce off VWAP like this. This VWAP bounce is huge, and I think that's really what's separating Obi, the wheat from the chaff, to borrow another term from Sharif. That's what's separating the kind of weaker or less directional material stocks from the ones that know what they're doing. So in these material tickers, I'm going to be watching for that VWAP bounce.
Yes.
Take a look here at NB. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Finish your NB.
I want to talk about NB. Nota bene, or important. If you see this in notes, if you're trying to make something important, you can just write NB. That's what my home economics teacher taught me in grade 7. So shout out to Mrs. May, who's definitely not watching the show. But either way, NB, maybe, honestly, you know what, guys? This uptrend is kind of beautiful. Look at this. Bloop, bloop. It's holding the uptrend, and I honestly think each high we make too, if I can I press this? There we go. Look how well this is holding. Now, right now, we're poised to maybe break this uptrend a bit, but guys, this is, you know, I kind of want to wait and see what happens here. I think it's an interesting look, and I think we can, if we can get back above the 90 MA, maybe we take out 1140s and we make a new high of day. Honestly, thank you to RFID Trader for reminding me, not reminding me, just telling me about these tickers so I can make sure I give you guys all of the rare earth stocks that you need. Back to my active trades that I am trading. And Jag says thinking about it's hard to trade actively today. I agree, because I was looking at these charts, and honestly, there's nothing that if I wasn't in it already that I'd want to enter, because it is a really choppy market. That being said, Lulu, the bottom of this little consolidation range here is 168.80. I will add if we break decisively below there. I already moved my stop to 170s. Ferrari, I haven't moved my stop, but I will if we break 400. As I say it, Ferrari breaks 400. Just racing off without me, Ferrari. Oh. Anyways, I'll stop my soap opera. How you doing over there?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm just kind of interacting with some of the chat here. Just funny. I'm like, you know what? I'm seeing Intel, nice little reversion happening on Intel as of right now. So I'm just observing some of this price action. And Jag in the chat, basically, that's what I was reading earlier, tagging us both, saying Adara and Obi. It's crazy to trade actively today. 100% agree with you. Patience is key. No point in donating to the algos that Goldman Sachs runs.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you guys don't take trades just for the sake of taking them. That's perfect, right? That's how it should be. Now, of course, you know what? If you've got ants in your pants, another Canadian show reference.
Yes.
If you've got ants in your pants, then yeah, maybe you don't have the patience to kind of execute on the market. If you are of that mentality, then I'm curious to know what your stats kind of look like, because I like to study like psychology and personality relative to performance. I'm still learning a lot from that as well, and I think it's good to kind of assess that as well. So like we used to be able to do that when we had a floor, because you can actually talk to people right here, and it's kind of difficult to do that with people in the chat because you don't know if they're just angry because they lost on the day or for whatever reasons, right? Or they're excited. So it's like you can't really gauge that unless you're seeing them in person. And that was a beautiful thing about the floor. We used to review each other's trades very often, pretty much every day at the floor meeting. So I think that what was good to see was that, okay, why are people kind of making the trades that they do? How does that make them feel? How does that change and carry over into their behavior? And how does that carry over into the next trade as well? So basically, I did well learning how people kind of slip up and lose. I think that's big information.
Oh, yeah.
As darker. As dark as it sounds, whatever, you want to learn how other people kind of make mistakes so you don't make them yourself. You want to look at that and learn from that as well, not only just from their trading, but from their mental and from how they kind of execute as well. There's a lot of information there. Nicholas Pham saying, Obi, would you hold options over the weekend? or roll. You mean like 0 DTEs? I don't know. I haven't traded options in quite a minute, I would say. I think that's a better question to ask Joe. But I think that if you're still convicted of the trade and like the time, like maybe you're wrong about the timing, or maybe you're in the money and you just want to roll it over. I don't know what your situation is. I think that if you think the trade isn't done, then yeah, the trade isn't done. And if that means you still stay in that trade, I think that's a valid kind of decision to make. But I don't know. Thank you for the super chat as well. I would say what is your conviction? What is the trade? Has it come to fruition? Do you still have the allocation, the capital and the risk or whatever to kind of carry that trade onto the next, roll it over to say. Nasdaq still kind of bleeding, man. You can see prior bars are holding pretty decently. We got a little bit of a wick here. So just a grinding sell off a little bit lower. We did bounce. I liked that reversion. I participated in that reversion. Was there follow through in that reversion? Nope. And I kind of pieced out. You can see I did try a couple more times when it got sideways, but when it was showing me zero directionality and more chop, I'm just like, all right, I'm done. So didn't really do much with that. Intel, I think I did trade it in the morning. Yeah, I did trade it in the morning. It was just kind of chopping up, nothing too crazy here, but you can see I actually missed the reversion here. I was looking at this strong run up and I was like, oh boy, 39.70s, do we get to 40? Didn't quite get there. 65s, I think it was the high around there, and just stalled and pulled back in pretty aggressively, and I missed the punch into 45. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna be patient, maybe look for the bid around here. It did start to slow down, but nothing crazy. Got a little chopped on that one, and then pretty much made it back and a little bit more here on the reversion to VWAP that came in. But I think that because it didn't really go anywhere, I kind of stopped participating in it. I'm like, all right, well, the opportunity was here and maybe off of the open here, and then I did take this opportunity as well, which kind of aligns with what I like to do, but it didn't really follow through. It didn't work out. But so just slightly, I think just slightly green on that one. So that's what I did there on that. What other trades that I take in the morning? I think APLD was one of them. That does trade on the Nasdaq. APLD, if you want to load for me, please. Thank you.
Oh, AstraZeneca news.
So boom, AstraZeneca news right now. What do you got for us, Adara?
Yeah, so you know how we heard some reports, AstraZeneca's on the Nasdaq, that there was going to be some kind of, pharmaceutical related announcement after the bell. Well, apparently that news, as reported by MSNBC, is going to be that AstraZeneca striking a deal with the White House on drug prices. Mm-hmm. That's why AZN is moving here, OB. Again, we had the Pfizer deal. We know Eli Lilly reportedly set to announce a deal with them at some point. I'll see if Lilly's moving on this, but guys, I do want to let you know, AstraZeneca popping higher, MSNBC reporting that is going to be the company that Trump announces a drug pricing deal with. And Lilly does get a little bit of volume to the downside, OB, on this. So it's funny, I wasn't even incorrect. Lilly, again, they were widely rumored to be the next group. Trump did indicate that there was something going on with Lilly. Lilly was terrific. We know that he's met up with CEO David Ricks before. So, I mean, maybe we were kind of hoping this was going to be Lilly. LLY kind of flat, bottom breaking, but as much as I love my mademoiselle Lilly, this is not a trade I want to enter right now. I didn't mean to cut you off with AstraZeneca. I just wanted to yell about AstraZeneca.
No, you're fine. I got it.
Okay. Nice. So, yeah, I'll just talk here. Someone was asking about help for AMD, comments on AMD. So AMD, and I say this as someone who's actually in AMD right now, I think it's indecisive. It can't decide, to quote Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo by, or is it just called Eeny, Meeny? I think it's called Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo by Sean Kingston and Justin Bieber. So, again, AMD, this was the reason I'm still in this trade is because if you look at what it did earlier when it kind of dropped, then rejected VWAP and consolidated, it was not clean. It took its time to give it to you. I think as long as we stay below that 221, I want to stay in this trade. I did add, as I mentioned earlier, too, and I thought it was going to keep pushing lower. Right now, it's super choppy. It's super consolidative, but I don't have a reason to flee, so I'm staying in it. Now, in terms of entering here, I think it'd be really tough to enter into this trade as it is because it is so choppy. And unfortunately, guys, I feel that way about basically the whole market, including the Nasdaq. There's not a lot of really clean entry levels. A lot of things either bounced, in a really tepid way off the lows, or they didn't even really bounce. They just kind of chopped. Like it's really it's hard to enter stocks when you're not really getting entry signals. Thank you so much to Bud C for the $20 super chat. Great job stepping up that last 2 days. Whole team, Apple Fritter, thank you very much. And then Control Alt Escape, $2 super chat. Tesla down to 420 is crazy work by the Big Don. I don't think it was a conspiracy about the trust breakup. I really don't think that's what it was. But yeah, I mean, TSLA already was kind of struggling, right? I think just even from last week, we had that massive gap up here, and we had the run up into the gap too. And I want to shout out our good friend Brian Shannon. Certainly not the only person to say this, but I think someone who says it frequently, and I think is really correct about it. And he says it mostly about earnings, but either way, if you have a big run up into an event, the chances that you're going to be able to sustain that run up do decrease a little bit, right? And so what was the big event here with Tesla? Deliveries. We expected better deliveries. We got way better deliveries than anybody expected. But we couldn't sustain that gap because then, A, we ran up the whole time, and B, there are concerns that because of the EV tax credit and that ending really could have been what drove that move in the first place, things kind of tapered off, right? But, so that is what I think that's the thing with Tesla. But you are right, it is very funny that we come back to that 420 level.
Yeah, I think, a bit of a wash, but I think there are levels that might be a little bit more important than that 420.
Oh, sorry.
What was that?
I was going to say, I think this news might have been earlier. I'll look into it. But Marlon mentioning SE about a news explosion at the Tennessee plant. I'll look into it, though. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Tesla, the deliveries on Tesla is one of the biggest catalysts that it has. I don't think it has a bigger catalyst. Sure, you can argue earnings as well, but if you go back and look at some of the moves that it's had over on its delivery numbers, those are some of the biggest moves. So one of the strongest catalysts for Tesla has been their delivery numbers. But interestingly enough, Dara, just last week they announced that lower pricing of the stripped down Model Y, and the price was pretty stripped down after that as well.
That was earlier this week,
right?
too,
Earlier this week. Yeah, sometimes it's a blur, man. I'm just like, you come in, you trade every day. You're just like, I don't know what day of the week it is. Oh, it's a Friday. Oh, it's a Monday. It's a Tuesday. Yeah, it all becomes a blur. I'm just like, I just remember price action. I'm like, that was within recent times. I'm like, things did this. I don't specifically remember one day or another. Here, Julian asking, what's for lunch? Oh boy, you're about an hour or two early for that. As of right now, but we could potentially check that a little bit later for you guys. Jay Lee saying, Obi, the problem is PE on Tesla. It's over 200. It will dump. All right, I'm sorry. I have a question for you then. What has the PE been for Tesla along the way up, and has it dumped, relatively speaking, or is it a stonk that only goes up? Sure, it has periods of strong selling, yes. Huge dump is coming, maybe, I don't know. I have no idea. But I don't like to have strong opinions on fundamentals like PEs and things like that, because things can have ridiculous PEs. But again, we talked about what really kind of moves prices, what really kind of moves markets, right? I don't think that's what it is. You can look at that stat and be like, oh my God, fundamentally this shouldn't be here, so this is mispricing. Sure, that's valid, but the market's gonna, stay irrational. That's that statement. Again, it'll stay irrational relative to your perspective longer than you can stay solvent. So best to do is, in my opinion, is to get with the program, look at the structure, because the structure is formed by the actual participants that are in that stock. The structures are formed by, whether it's large players, small players, whether it's buying or it's selling, all of that action happening with participants. Don't forget, trading is a PvP game. You're playing against other participants, other parties. So how they position themselves, what their kind of sentiment is, and where liquidity is really sitting on the chart, that's what's probably going to determine price movement a lot more than anything else. And that I've come to really solidify that concept more recently as well. And we talked about why a little bit earlier this week. So it's great to look at fundamentals. It's good to understand them. But at the end of the day, what still stands is price action is king. You cannot fight that. There's so many smart people. This is what we were talking about. There's so many smart people that, they'll look into these filings and they'll look into the fundamentals and they're like, okay, you know what? This is where things should be. Analysts get paid big bucks to do that, right?
Big bucks.
But you tell me, why don't you run back tests on some of these analysts and tell me how many times they're good or wrong? right? I think that's a good back test to take. And these guys actually went to school for this stuff. They understand some of these markets better than the general population. You know, that's why the banks and some of these guys actually put them on their payroll, so they can provide that kind of value. But how often are they lagging behind the actual price action? Analysts are always chasing price action in their analysis. So those upgrades and downgrades, because they have to do that. Otherwise, if they don't do that, if Buddy does it here, this guy does it here, they have to save face as well. So it's like, you gotta learn how some of those guys move. I don't care, because that's not the business that I'm in. I'm in the business of just buying and selling things, and the market will tell me more than I need to know. And I think that's a good kind of base to have. That's just my opinion. But I've said this once, and I've said this many times before. I'll say it once again. The chart and the price action will tell you pretty much everything you need to know. If you're going to argue with it, being like, oh, I'm smart, I know the fundamentals, this is that and the other, that's great. Let the market tell you, because it'll let you know very clearly whether you're right or wrong on that.
Yeah.
That's my spiel.
I agree, and I think that's why, like, both you and I think, are very much. I think we're both pretty hesitant to make assumptions about things going forward, because I want to wait and see what the stock tells me. I want to see what the tape tells me. Forget about what that news say. Show me what that chart do. You know what I mean? That's honestly the opinion I definitely am.
Yes.
But I do want to address these two super chats. Oh my gosh, True Social mouse, come on. So John Trunham, I think in the chat, have been asking, why is the market down? Why is the market down? Well, the reason the market's down is to do with this super chat from William Larson. Thank you for the $5 super chat, William Larson. With such a huge post from Trump, isn't this just the start of the narrative that will last at least a week? What's the setup for this today? Well, I don't know. I think it's worth noting, usually with these like really negative tariff-related announcements from Trump, you'll get that really big move for a week, and then maybe we get a birria taco, you know, whatever, for example, and things switch up, right? So I don't want to make any assumptions, but William Larson, that's generally how it's gone. Now, the post, for people who missed it, I'm not going to do my dramatic reading again, but, you know, I'm free backstage after the theater for further bookings. Trump post more things on Truth. But anyway, this is a very, very verbose post on Truth Social. Trump basically says that he's not really happy with how China is being very hostile with regards to export controls. He's really not happy with it. And so he said he was going to meet with Xi. Now he doesn't think there's a reason to do so anymore. And that he said that he's ready to, you know, maybe have massive increase of tariffs on Chinese products. And he didn't say they will do it. He said they're considering it. Okay. And I'm going to use this button. Oh, it doesn't work. I'm going to do the thank you very much to Dara button. But anyways, I never use it for myself, and I thought it was funny. But yeah, William, oh, there it is. Thank you. But William Larson, to answer your question, yeah, I think it's hard to know what the market's going to do, because we could always look at past data, and again, past data is it drops and then kind of recovers if there's any other update. But I don't want to speculate. I will bring up the Nasdaq again, though, because I think one thing I really want to mention, and when someone asked me earlier, where are we going to bounce? And I said, I think that's tough. One of the levels in the daily that I think was the clearest support resistance, or that was the hourly, but you see it on the daily too, that 602.70, 602.50s, we blew clean through. So honestly, William Larson, I think that level will be interesting coming back if we bounce or if we reject off that or anything. That's going to be what I'm watching for sure at 602.50. The second super chat did not have a message, I do not believe, but thank you very much to our friends at our friend Choco 007, James Bond over there. So yeah, thank you very much for the super chat. If you have a message, just let us know. Just tag us. You don't have to send another super chat, but just let us know what you're looking at. New lows here for the Zon, Obi's old pal there. NVIDIA heading back into lows, Google heading back into lows, Apple consolidating near lows. Updates on my trades, which I am still in. I've not been actively trading as much, guys, because I want to focus on being able to cover the news for you guys. But Ferrari, I mentioned earlier, I believe I would add to this if we broke 400. I moved my stop to this consolidation range top, and I did that, and I did that. I still am trying to take profit at 394. That hasn't changed. I think I also mentioned I was going to add to Lulu if we broke 168. We did. I moved my stop once again to the consolidation range high. I'm a boring trader, guys. I have my systems and I follow my systems. What can I say? Now, AMD, as Sharif at one point called it, AMD. A little pushback. This is why I think patience pays. If I don't have a reason to leave a trade if my stop hasn't hit, I'm not going to enter a trade when there's chop, but I'm not going to leave a trade because there's chop. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, that's not, for me, chop is not a reason to leave. It's a reason to sit on my hands.
Yes.
and just wait
good,
and be patient.
I think
that's all I'm trying to do there. So that's what I'm trying to say at that point. And I do want to mention as well, thank you very much. There's a lot of people in the chat who have been like, oh, you know, we want to see Adara trading more. You could always tag me if you want to know what I'm trading, what I'm looking at. I am very happy and I hobbit hole over at the news desk, truthfully, and that's not something I really feel the need to leave, nor do I think it would be conducive because I like to focus on the news, and that's honestly why I'm here for you guys. My primary focus is always going to be in the news for you all. But I do really appreciate the kind words, and I do want to address these comments. Yeah, it means a lot to me that you guys are enjoying the frenetic, crazy, spready ticker energy that I've been lucky enough to bring here with my pal Obi. And I'm just going to use the back.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Yeah, no, down, down, down is where we're going. So we're about to hit some fresh lows here. Amazon with the fresh lows, Apple with the fresh lows. Nothing else. Rari with the fresh lows as well. And the Nasdaq may be coming in as well. The ES already has broken its lows as of right now, maybe trending a little bit lower here. Wick lows all the way just below that 24,700 right here. So I'm going to be watching that one. We'll see how that one comes into fruition. But Apple, oh boy, I like this one here. AAPL, how are you doing? 4770s right now with the low day at 4760. So this is what I mean, straight quadunk. No real bounce on this one just yet, and I'm continuing to watch it. I like this. Maybe you took the continuation underneath that 250. That looks pretty valid as of right now, but that's just looking back at it, right? Sometimes the backside does look pretty decent, and you're like, oh boy, why didn't I catch that? But that's only when you're looking back at it, right? So that's a lot of things. You just gotta wait. Oh boy, this is the one, man. Oh my God, right here. Was this a held bid on Apple at 255s, and then that cracks on the news with volume? Oh my God. All right, cool. So that's a bit of a trade there. I kind of did not see that one in the morning session. That kind of consolidation should be showing up on my on some of my scans here, but whatever. We'll take a look at why that didn't show up after the market closed. But oh boy, what a quadunk off of a held bid there. If you guys were watching, maybe sure QUBT was slightly different, but I think it was QUBT. Yeah, no, we saw what happens when a held bid, which is kind of distinct, kind of breaks down. But this is obviously very, very different because we had a catalyst that kind of fueled that sell-off, and it wasn't just related to Apple, it was related to the rest of the market. So I'm kind of looking for the next trade. Where is the next trade? So far today, I've traded APLD, Intel, LAC, and TQs. So we shall see. Yeah, Iceman saying, Obi never trades, always looking, always stalking because I like to hunt, and if I don't see prey, why am I trying to, try to eat goldfish or, whatever is not part of my roster for the hunt, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, exactly. So there you go, boom, boom, boom. So that's the thing. You gotta think like a sniper. You gotta think like a hunter. And I'm hungry, and I know there are certain things that are not gonna fill me up. Why would I even go for it? Why would I waste my time? Why would I waste my time? Right? I have my meals. I have my meal set up. I got a meal plan. Right, Joe. I got a meal plan going. So I only eat from that meal plan. And because when I eat other things, sometimes I feel a little sick. So that's the kind of mental that I have. But patience is key. Because they're addicted. Yeah, exactly. If you have like a gambling addiction, maybe you're punching everything that you see because you're just like, oh my God, opportunity. But when you sit at the desk for an extended period of time, you start seeing there's a lot of stuff that's absolutely noise, absolutely bupkis. Sure, it could work. Sure, it can't work. The probabilities, you got to be able to assess some of those. Some of them I miss for sure. I miss great opportunities, but the ones that do fall into my lap and the ones I am participating in, I'm trying to maximize on those. And you guys were sitting here. I took a trade. I took a long, but guess what? What other reason to buy do you see? Do you see any reasons to buy? Let me know in the chat. Where is the next trade? That's what I'm looking for. I don't like chasing. That's why I'm not punching into the bid at the lows here. Maybe we take more legs. Maybe we're not done selling. What do I know? But at the end of the day, I want to look for that distinct difference. And so far, we've only been selling pretty aggressively, except for that little bit of a bid that we did get. That was an inkling of a bid that did show up. And when it was gone, So was I. So where is the next trade? That's the question. If you're erratic and you take trades every 10 seconds, then that's a little, because like you guys are messaging every few seconds. I'm just like, all right, cool. That's great. I take trades like that when I'm too hopped up on coffee. You'll see it on my charts. You'll see everything on the charts. The charts speak for themselves. If I'm hopped up on coffee, best believe my entries and exits are just going to be boom, 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 because the caffeine is definitely affecting my mental state, being like I have to do something or else I feel like I'm doing nothing. But sitting on your hands is sometimes one of the best positions you can be in, right? So that's something that I really kind of go for. It is what it is. Where's the next trade? Because I don't see it just yet. Let's look around. Let's look around. Excuse me, kind of almost choked on myself there. But SPY with some fresh lows. Amazon with some fresh lows. So continued selling on that sector there. Let's take a quick look at MP and see how those how the mineral buddies are doing here. So MP, let's see how you're holding up. That's holding up relatively okay. That's kind of pulled back. So no real strength kind of continuation happening there. TMC, hello, how are you doing? Nothing crazy. LAC was the other one. Throw it up in the chat what you guys are looking at as well. And I'm more than willing to take a look because that's what I'm doing. I'm just observing, I'm hunting, I'm waiting, I'm stalking my prey right now. But guess what? Nothing has crossed the crosshairs.
Yeah, I think one thing that did cross the crosshairs for me is I took a teeny piece of profit here on RACE on my Ferrari. I may come to regret this. This might have been too early, but just the book was not giving me a lot of confidence. We got to that low, the 397, then we bounced, we got a little choppy, and I trust my read on spready ticker tape, if nothing else, so I just took a piece out there. I'm still holding the rest of this. I'm going to be taking out, like I said, some around 394. Lulu, we're chilling. I'll just let this do what it wants to do. I don't have any plans or reactions for this. AMD, this is a more interesting one. So we got here to a new low, not new low, but new local low of that 217.50, and then we bounce pretty clean. Now, again, as I said, I'm not panicking. I'm not a panic hand. No, I'm joking. I'm just staying with this. I'm not going to...
Don't be rude.
I'm sorry, Trump, you said it. But I'm not going to be panicking or Canadian, maybe panic Canadian over here. I'm just going to stick in this trade and do my thing 21. Now, there were two questions I wanted to get to. Grant Ratcliffe asking how I feel about crypto. Do you think crypto might get a pop here in the drop in the market overall? Now, I already looked here at not only IBIT, I looked earlier at Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I noticed that it seems to be moving in tandem with the market right now. Grant, that would be my take, but now I'm curious, Grant A.O. Let's take a look here, okay, hello, and see if our, I want to do a little bit more of a, okay, so Solana looking really similar. Cardano looking really similar. Yeah, here's the thing, Grant, I think right now it looks like this trend is impacting everything. I think crypto, unfortunately, is going to get a little bit swept up in that, but does that mean it can't bounce a little bit earlier, a little bit differently? No, not at all. I just think right now, Grant, it seems like things are all moving together. That is that's my take. So I'm just going to put Lulu back on my chart so I can babysit my children, see how they're doing. Yes, this is what I mean here with AMD. That's why I didn't panic. What's the opposite of panic sell when you're short? Panic buy? I didn't panic buy AMD because I was like, you know what? We're still making lower highs in the grand scheme of things and lower lows. So I'm just going to let her drop if she needs to drop, do what she needs to do. You are very welcome, Grant Ratcliffe. I thought it was a good question. And honestly, guys, if you have any questions for me, please let me know. I do apologize. This question was addressed earlier, and I forgot to mention it. And I was in the bathroom, and I was like, oh, Qualcomm. So someone asked me how I felt about a Qualcomm short. Now, I do apologize. It already broke the low at this point. But I think at this point, this is a stock that would be kind of hard to get into just due to how much it's down. I like the idea of a 162.20 short on Qualcomm. Now, that happened, not cleanly, but it did happen. I do want to shout out anybody who was short QCOM. I know in your post as well to the person who mentioned this, and I do apologize, I don't remember the name. You mentioned they had a negative catalyst to China, which they did. And wow, this broke down on the daily. Why do I sound like a cartoon character? Look at that. There, I like that. So there's a support resistance level. It's not perfect, but around that 164.60 level, right? We have a slightly lower high, and then that bottom breaks down. It's not even a perfect flat bottom break, but it's certainly, I mean, it's pretty weak, right? Now on the daily, the one level of support, maybe if I squint, 156.30, and that's if I go back to what? Like some support over here, some resistance over here. It's not clean. But either way, keep an eye on Qualcomm. And right now, we're going to move on to some quality ad reads from Opie.
Thank you very much. So guys, each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the United States, yet there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE listed Orogenics, that's OGEN, is changing that with its first in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Orogenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. That's OGEN on the NYSE. So let's see, where's again, I'm going to come back. Where's the next trade? I went for a quick little break there, and now I'm back looking for potential push. Apple, man, Apple. These sellers on Apple are so strong. So okay, you know what, TQs, it's been nice. Thank you. I took a piece off of you, and I'm looking at Apple now. Let's start stalking this one because this is starting to get a little bit in that territory. So is maybe Amazon, but a lot of these are overextended relatively similarly in terms of the Mag 7 and both the Nasdaq and the ES as well. Oh boy, that is some strong overextension. So I'm waiting. I'm being patient. I don't know if the bid's going to show up. Maybe we continue to sell off here. Where's the chart? That's the TQs right there. Boom. So this is Apple right here. This is what I mean. Apple's kind of been pretty aggressive to the downside. No real bounce on this one. Now some of them have been bouncing, but this one had a relatively, I guess, less of a bounce, more sharp of a downtrend on this one, and Softy as well. Softy's holding up pretty well, and looking very similar to that of the market. So I'm kind of trying to be like, okay, what's going to be the best vehicle to take the bounce if and when it does come in? Which ones are more relatively extended than others when it comes to the Mag 7? And it might just be that the futures or the SPY or the TQs might be the best vehicle to take that reversion if and when it does come in. I already participated and I had a little bit of a feel of the TQs, and that was all right. That was pretty decent. But Apple, I like this one a little bit here as well. I like the volume profile that's kind of going on Apple as well is pretty decent. You know what? Let's take a look back at the chart and see what kind of levels it's coming into. Maybe we find some more confluence in that area. So we'll look at a higher time frame here. We'll go straight up to the hourly. Wow, fresh lows as I speak. So yeah, no participation from me because the shorts are definitely winning, and there's no I guess the RR in and around here not really something I really want to get involved with, because look, if it does bid up, like buyers are here, buyers are here, buyers are here, it's been a chop trend to the downside. Maybe you're risking 49s, maybe you're risking 50s, but that's $2 away on something like Apple after it's already dropped $10 on the day. So from the high of day to current low prices, which is pretty much low day, we're down about 3.64%. So about 3.5% from the highs to the lows on Apple after some strong selling yesterday as well. So that supply is stepping in right on top, or right into prior day's opening range low. So we reject prior day's opening range low on Apple, and then sellers step right back in. And if you remember yesterday, and you don't have to remember because you can see it on the chart here, we had all day selling on Apple. Right? We've been trying to push this 260 mark. We've been attempting to push it. There's been a lot of chop. You can see the consolidation. Let's go to a higher time frame here. You can see the chop that we've been having. This is prior all-time high area as well, right? We talked about that. We did kind of push through that by a little bit. Prior all-time highs were 259.18. Current all-time highs 259.49. So you tell me, on a $250 stock, that kind of a push and a false break, what does that entail? I don't know.
Sorry,
but yeah, look at that strong selling coming in on the break of this consolidation trend as well. So yeah, we broke that. I don't know if I'm going to have any indicators that mess this up. Okay, nice. I haven't had any in there. So take a look at that. When this kind of comes in, sure, we violate it. The line doesn't have to be perfect, but you get the general gist, right? There's been buyers kind of supporting this leg consolidation. Guess what? It doesn't always go leg to the upside, consolidation, and then continuation leg. Sometimes it goes leg, consolidation, failure to follow through, back down leg, right? So that's what we're seeing some of today. Yeah, I'm going to be patient to see where we can potentially find a bid. We're coming into some of these prior areas. So okay, let's take off all those indicators, clean up the chart a little bit. So we quadrupled back down into some of these areas from before, from March of 2025 and January of 2025. Oh boy, are you telling me that this is coming down to opening prices as well? We got to see where that first of the month is. Actually, not only is this January high, this is also the first earnings report of the year, or Q4 report from last year that was reported in January, right? That's the reference high, 247s and some change. So let's see what that is specifically. 249.39 is this specific high that we made in February as well. So this is a bit of an area. Resistance, resistance on a higher time frame. We're looking at a 3-hour chart, and then we slam right back in to maybe that area. So now the question becomes, does that resistance turn into support? Or do we not care about it at all because the tariff selling is going to outweigh any sort of liquidity that might be sitting there to potentially hold it up in a different scenario? But yeah, strong selling across the board here. No real reason. You can see that the Q's again making some fresh lows. So oh boy, indeed. Where is the next trade? That's the only thing on my mind. But right now, I do feel like I do have to sit on my hands and wait for these buyers to step back in once again. Don't know if they're going to be here. It's the end of the week. Maybe we get that nice little top wick on the weekly because of the sell action, and then maybe we revert a little bit, closing the week off pretty nicely on some of the strong stocks. So we'll see. Apple, though, the weekly going red.
Yeah, it's a rough look. So I just want to. I think the only thing I did here since you guys saw me last was I did AMD. I took out a tiny piece, just a fifth of the position, which relatively is not very much. Now, why did I do that? Because this kind of pattern where you've got like a consolidation range and then you make a double bottom, but on a wick basis, I find to occasionally be bullish. Not bullish enough to make me leave the trade, mind you, but enough that I was like, let's take a little tiny piece, you know, that's cool. Again, you could argue that's a bit too, restrictive, but again, given that I give my trades given that I give my trades room, I think it makes sense to take some of that words. I found you. Okay. I also moved my stop on AMD to this 219.46 level, not exactly there, but in that vicinity. Now, why did I do that? As I said, your stop should only be moved if where you are wrong has changed. Given how we ran up into that, if we make a higher high above that, I do not want anything to do with that. So that's why in my opinion, I would be wrong if we broke above there. But I have to just smile and be happy with my dear sweet friends Lulu and Ferrari. I'm happy with AMD too, to be clear, but Lulu and Ferrari are chilling, and I have nothing, bad to say about this. And this is why I think it's so important, Obi and chat, that you have to have your own style.
Yes.
I know taking shorts at low of days is not for everybody, and I think there are times where I overstay my welcome on this, truthfully, where I get a little too excited to do it. And I will admit, Lulu, I got into this arguably way too early. I stayed in this for a long time. But the point is, this already had a catalyst that sold off, and it kind of had that dump before the market dumped, and it was at day's low. So for me, contextually, I thought it was a fair short. I added when we kind of had this consolidation breakdown. So I think in that approach, it was okay. Rooster and my Rari, shout out to Walk a Flock. Thank you to Joe for that comment in the chat. And yeah, you can't trade with no hands, unfortunately, but sometimes you have to sit on your hands to make sure you take those trades. Shout out to No Hands, a song that I was way too young to be listening to when I listened to it. So great song there. Let's talk here about, you don't know that song?
I don't know.
Okay, it's a classic. Anyway, it's Walk a Flock of Flame.
All right.
So Ferrari, though, another low of day breakdown that I took. And again, with Ferrari, a lot of this was contextual. As I mentioned to you guys yesterday's low of day around 403s. Daily resistance support, 403. So we break 403 and we flat bottom. I thought it was a fair short, so I got involved in that short there. Chilling. I might have to revisit my stop on this. I think it's right now around the consolidation high, so I might look at that in a second. But I just want to give you guys an update here in my trades. Now, for those who are like, why is the market moving? I don't know why I use that voice. I'll tell you guys why. Donald Trump posted a very long post on Truth Social where he said that he is displeased, to put it mildly, with China, and that he no longer thinks that there is any point in him meeting with President Xi of China in APEC. We're at APEC in South Korea in a couple weeks, so that meeting is now off, and also that he's considering adding massive tariffs to China. So that is my point I'm trying to make. Is gold cooked, says Nate Sim. Why sell gold? GLD,
GLD.
in the place to be. That is Amex, I believe. And we'll find
GLD's
out.
on Amex.
Oh, yes. Okay. So shout out to someone earlier talking about the 370 top.
Nice.
Props to you. I mentioned earlier I thought if it couldn't break 370 50s, it probably wasn't really a good long. And look, we can't even get to 370 50s. So I'm not. That wasn't advice. That was just my take on the chart. But sometimes it feels a little nice to be right. You know what I mean? You just got to give yourself like a little like.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, so congrats though if anyone was short that. I'm not sure if it's cooked, Nate Sim, but I think right now, and I mentioned this earlier too, crypto, sometimes viewed as a safe haven asset, is selling off. Gold, sometimes viewed as a safe haven asset, actually survived and even thrived in that tariff reaction initially, but they just couldn't hold it, right? So I think right now, for whatever reason, even though, as people mentioned, these tariff announcements are common, sometimes we get, an Al Pastor taco, and it all switches up again. But for now, there is fear, and the market's very sentimental. And I think because the markets are so emotionally driven, Obi, with the buying and the selling and the reaction, that's why we as traders have to be stone cold. We have to be emotionless. We have to take trades based on systems, because that's the only way, I think, to counteract the inherent emotion and the maelstrom of the market, in my opinion. So there we go. I will stop ranting now. Where's the next trade, says Obi. Where are you using your telescope and microscope to look at?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for the next trade. Maybe it's a bigger picture. That's why I did both the microscope and the telescope. Maybe it's a bigger picture idea on a higher time frame, and maybe there's an opportunity there. Or maybe it's an intraday structural kind of a hold or a break. That's the microscope. So I'm like, yeah, I'm looking. Where is the next potential trade? So what I started doing right away was, all right, okay, cool. Not really seeing anything on my watch list or my, I guess, some of the multi-chart layouts that I have set up. Right now, there looks like there is some tape changing here on Apple with a strong bit of a bid here. So you know what?
Everything's kind of bidding.
Yeah, everything's kind of starting to catch a little bit of a thing here. I'm going to be maybe a little bit patient here, but that tape definitely on Apple starting to look a little bit distinct there. More yellows and greens I'm seeing, and a nice little rush. So the tape speed just kind of increased a little bit there. You can see the nice wick shimmy action there off of that 24,600 on the Nasdaq as well. Just kind of doing a little bit of a bounce. Don't forget, we're coming all the way. Reference open of this QQQ here was about 25,300 and some change. So and we're trading all the way down to 24,600 and change. So that is a pretty aggressive sell-off here. D. Westermeyer is saying, I just caught the bottom on the Dow futures. Let's go. Nice catch there. Let's take a look at the DJI. I haven't looked at this one in a while. We got a buddy in our pod that he loves the DJI, and I guess for good reason as well. You want to keep an eye on the whole market, and some of the stocks that are composed of the Dow Jones definitely are worth watching. I know for sure that Trump watches the Dow Jones pretty. Oh
yeah, he always quotes the Dow.
He always quotes the Dow. So it's kind of like old school in a sense. But the thing is, not really old school. It's still a very valid, I guess something to watch, and it holds valid vehicles, is what I'm saying. But yeah, nice little QQQ on this one. Is this delayed here? No, I don't think this data is delayed at all. But yeah, nice catch there. Current bottom or current low on the DJI is sitting at 45.7s here, 45,700 on the DJI. So yeah, you can see here, kind of consolidated before, and that selling reflected very similarly on the Dow Jones as it is here on the ES and the Nasdaq. And I think someone in the chat, I'm forgetting the name here. They were saying that getting involved in the China market is also a valid trade here as the Nasdaq kind of drops here. So I don't know. BABA kind of failing and selling off pretty hard as well. We can take a look at some of these ADRs and see how they're doing. You can see PDD, even more aggressive selling than some of these other names. What else do we have? What other stocks? We got BABA, PDD. Those are the first two that kind of come right to my mind. But FC, not FCX. Oh my God, the Hang Seng. Hang Seng, yeah, HSI. So that's what I want to see.
Are you thinking of FXI?
I was thinking about FXI.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So Hang Seng, look at that strong quadrunk there, reflecting very similarly again to the markets here. So we can take a look at FXI because that trades on the NYSE, and oh boy, FXI is a good vehicle if you want to play that a little bit as well. But you can see there's similarity here. It's pretty much relatively the same move on the FXI as it is here on the ES and Nasdaq. Jameson saying Trump can delist China stocks for sure. So here's the thing. That fear has been thrown around in the market in the past as well, right? When the tariffs first came around, they were like, oh, the ADRs, you know, they're kind of a sketchy product. They might get taken off. You might lose your shares there if they get delisted and things like that. Yes, very valid concern. I think that is very valid. But the question becomes, are they going to delist it right here, right now? Or are they going to announce it? Because they know that people are involved. They know the American people are definitely involved in some of these ADRs. Are they just going to be like, all right, well, everybody, you don't have those anymore? I don't know if that's going to happen. That would definitely set upset some people in some high places for sure, because you know that a lot of large portfolios, even in banks and funds and stuff, they do have a share of involvement in the Hang Seng or with via ADRs as well. So maybe they manage that risk in some other way. I have no idea, way above my pay grade. But you got to remember that people are involved in some of these names. If they do get delisted, I think you are the last person that they're thinking about in terms of, oh, who's going to be in trouble. There are some much bigger players who would be who would have strong issues with that right away, right? You got to let the people know, and maybe once the announcement is made, then we get some aggressive selling. But I don't have no idea, right? So. That is definitely something to watch out for. Let's take a quick look at Intel and NVIDIA, because these were names that I was involved with in the morning. But NVIDIA, oh boy, the reversion on this one. So I was watching this, or I was looking at it just a few minutes ago, being like, oh boy, like if I'm just getting involved on this on a trend break reversion because it's already extended and something I would be involved with anyways, right? So that's a break of trend. We start to kind of come in, quadrunk, back through these consolidation highs from pre-market. Nice levels there. Consolidations in and around the day lows, up, and then breaking through prior day's lows, really kind of pushing it in that, yeah, no, sellers are very much here, and we're going to be reacting pretty aggressively to this catalyst here. So a bit of a bounce, but coming back into some of these areas, this is where the bid stepped in earlier. This is where the bid is stepping in now once again. So the question becomes, do we just do a bit of a dead cat bounce in and around this area? 186 is being the lows here on NVIDIA. So I'll watch that, maybe a little bit of a chop and churn in this area as the market kind of slows down once again. We were saying that this is slowing down here, and then it accelerated because I was like, remember I was like, oh, you know, sellers can easily step right back in, right? A little bit of relief. I'm catching that relief if I think it's high probability, and then stepping back in, kind of, trading a little bit lower. So we did get all the way down to 24.6s on the Nasdaq, and then 66.40s on the ES on this sell-off so far. So Ichiro saying Robinhood issues. Okay, I mean,
it might be the platform.
Yeah, maybe the platform is having issues. Let's see what the stock is doing. Oh boy, sellers just coming in right off open, and then maybe taking more of a quadrunk there with that catalyst as well. So trading at the days, or pretty much near the day's lows at 142.30s. Current day low is sitting at 140.95, so just about $1 away from that. Amazon, maybe a little bit of a bid here. APDN, was that the one? Yeah, APLD. Sorry, APLD. This one with a bit of a curl here as well. Let's see if that kind of comes in as a follow through on the rest of the market. But like I mentioned before, Apple is the one I'm watching, and Apple just continues to look like it has sellers. Continues to look like we're not really going to get too far. This is I guess the closer this slope kind of starts to diminish, the closer we get to this slope diminishing, the less I kind of like it for a potential reversion. I want to see sharp down, and I want to see signs of a potential sharp up. And if we're just going to methodically just bleed out, I'm going to sit on my hands. I'm gonna sit on my hands. David Cook saying long Apple, don't be scared. Yeah. Thank you for the idea. I am not scared. I'm just waiting for the right opportunity.
Heck yeah. Great job, Obi. Also with Apple, not a huge news. The stock does not seem to care really about it, but Apple Vision Pro, apparently users with Apple Vision Pro can now access traditional game broadcasts live and on demand with Spectrum TV and the NBA app. So some NBA integration for Apple Vision Pro, I don't know. That's going to be on watch here. There is, oh yeah, other things I want to say. Fed's Muslim talking right now. He is currently speaking. He said only 10% of the inflation that they're seeing is tariffs. So he's saying that the tariffs only apparently make up 10% of inflation, at least in his view. We know there are certain Feds, Myron, that are denying that inflation is part of it at all. And there are others that have been very, very clear that they view inflation or tariffs to be a huge part of inflation. So interesting look there. He said that a balanced approach to monetary policy only works if inflation expectations are anchored. Interesting notes there. He also said that inflation is materially above target. So higher inflation than they want. But Obi, we got some concerns too. We're doing a Dara's News Quarter, I guess, right now, because why not? Yes. So we have some concerns as well here. They're not really like market related, but I think it is interesting. I was seeing something, I can't find it now, but apparently the job market is at it's not looking good here. Where can I find it? This post fell away from me. Anyways, there were some concerns here about jobs, and maybe we'll probably never find. Oh, here we go. Sorry about that, guys. My X feed is very crowded. American job market faces its deepest pessimism since the 2008 to 2009 Great Recession. That's what people are saying. That's not a great look, and we know that one of the biggest things that have had even the most hawkish of Feds as of late, so Goolsbee and Kashkari mostly, even the most hawkish Feds have kind of been of the position that, and that's why they even voted to cut rates 25 basis points in September. Even if they're hawkish about inflation, they recognize that jobs are an issue here. So interesting note there. Looks like employment is a concern still, which is really unfortunate, of course. But I just want to keep you all apprised of what I see. So Lulu, I want to give an update on my trades here, because I know I haven't been talking too much about my trades. I've been in 3, and I've been in pretty much all of them since the start of the midday. So, you know, it is what it is. I did take some profit here. I may come to think that was too presumptuous, but I did it because I wasn't really liking what I saw in the book, and we're kind of chopping. So I said, you know what, Jared, just take some out, move my stop. It ends up coincidentally being break even, but I didn't set the stop as break even on purpose. I just moved it to where the next kind of chunk consolidation-ish high was. So that was around that 169.50, like right before the breakdown, more or less. Ferrari, that Rari. Is still riding lower. And guys, that's why you can't.
To the downside.
What'd you say?
Still revving.
Oh yeah. Vroom, vroom.
Yeah.
So like honestly, that's why you can't get too sad, I think, about if you're wrong on a trade. Like I tried this, I thought this was going to be a reversion. Like I said, it was a playbook setup for me that just didn't work out. Then this short, I only got partial fill, but that's not the point. You know, I executed this according to playbook. We get literally a ghost fill. I'll go back to the 1 minute so we can laugh at my ghost fill for a second. Because Obi, if you don't laugh sometimes, what are you doing? My ghost fill. And I'll zoom out so you guys can actually see how ghostly this was. Oh, wait, can I do this? Okay. Anyways, the point is the wick does not even go as high as where my triangle is. That's what I'm trying to say. So instead of getting discouraged by that, don't be discouraged. Let your true color. So yeah, I pulled a Cindy Lauper here. I just let my true color side shine through because guys, girls just want to have fun. And right now what I want to do is take these trades. I'm still in Rari. Like I said, arguably presumptuous. Same with Lulu, that I took out this piece, but I didn't like what I saw in the book. I wanted to take a piece. I still have a quarter of this position. So I have 3/4 of the RACE position, and I still have 5/6 of the Lulu position. So I'm still heavily sized in. I just got stopped out of AMD. I kind of figured I would because we were curling up. But yeah, I mean, virtually a break-even stop, I think, more or less. And like I said, I took a tiny piece out when I thought that maybe we could bounce. I'm happy with how I've managed these positions, and I don't think I have anything to complain about or be sad about. Please just punch. But a moment of silence for the shorts I missed.
Oh boy.
Let's talk about CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike, as I mentioned, I liked as a short earlier, specifically this 510, 511 kind of level, but I didn't rush into it because honestly, like I said, the volume wasn't that good. I don't mind low volume, but CrowdStrike's volume was so relatively low compared to other spready tickers that I thought it was sketchy, so I didn't get in. And Quaduk, RIP that trade. Applovin, arguably even sadder. I had to short off the open. I stand by. I'm proud of what I did here with this execution. What I don't like is that I wasn't able to get in on that VWAP rejection. That was 100% a miss on my part. And, oh, that was at 10:57. So that was what basically when we had the tariff turmoil. I was not at my desk at the time, so I missed that as well. But there's another level or entry that I could have done here on Applovin, guys. There's actually two. The first is, and I wasn't watching it, so it's my fault. The first is, look at this little rejection here. We get this VWAP rejection that, 90 MA, the purple line, 588. Look, that was support. It flips to resistance.
Yeah.
And so that would have been maybe an entry. I missed that either way. And then look, this base here that we get at 583, look where exactly we reject again, 583. So I'm not saying this to like cry myself to sleep or to pity myself. What I'm trying to say is I should have been on the ball more on these, and I missed those opportunities, and that is my bad. And
I mean, here's the thing. I understand that I agree that you missed those opportunities, but you were involved initially on the push. You had the direction, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So here's the thing. That chart looks almost perfect in terms of the price action that's holding structure, like you pointed out, kind of retesting structure. And that kind of reminds me of that like the pyramiding concept that the short bear, really, if you guys know who that is.
He's really good.
Solid trader. You guys definitely got to follow him if you don't. But he has this really old video on pyramiding, which has definitely been helping me out. Of course, in terms of execution, I got to do a little bit better in bringing it in. But extracting from that pyramiding concept, you can see that Applovin has been loving the structure to the downside. So this is what I mean. So let's actually go through this chart here. You know what? Let's go through this chart because I'm looking for opportunity. Don't really see anything. So let's do something productive for the next few minutes here. So. How would you take, so your initial entry right here is on the break, what candle is that, 1221?
That would have been, yeah, this one?
1221, what was your initial entry, the first time you got short on this stock?
Oh, I only got short the one time.
The one time, okay, so what time was that?
It was 9.
Okay, so this consolidation.
Right off the open.
Right off the open, 935. Okay, perfect, cool. Let's draw on this chart a little bit here. So you like the short there because it's breaking down. It's look at that, beautiful right there, consolidating below some of prior day's action. So let's kind of go through this and how ideally you can kind of get involved and then trail the risk as well. So I think initially. Here, let's change the color so we can actually see brightly. Let's see what's a good color that stands out on top of everything else. Let's go to like a light purple here. So I think okay. So you're entering in and around here. You know what? I don't really like that. Let's go. Let's use some of these because this is a little bit more I guess more in line. We'll use okay. So we'll use one of these. Boom. Where is that? Right here.
593.
Okay, hold on. So right here, so you get in on the first one right there, right? It pulls in. So where's the risk? The risk is up here.
I risked, so I got in it. I took it a little tighter, so I got in 593 and then risked the top of that consolidation range, so around 596.
So 596. So 596. You're keeping it pretty tight. So you're saying the stop is right here on this.
Well, I saw it reject it a couple times, and I felt that was where I was wrong.
Perfect. Okay, so you're saying that. So let's put in the stop. Let's just define the stop as this horizontal line. Okay. So the stop you said is at 56s.
Around 96.
Sorry, 96. Around 96. So this is kind of magneting to the candle tops. But let's say you're risking to the structure high. So we have that at 95.57. So okay, so that structure high, it works right away. It comes in, but you're really convicted on this trade. You're just like, all right, sellers are stepping in once again after some strong selling of multiple days of selling. So if sellers are going to step in, I expect them not to violate this price. So let's just take a look at how structure holds now. All right, cool. So coming back into this resistance, comes in and holds. So maybe taking an entry here on the break of this trend. The risk still stays the same because we're still at that structure, right? And then let's see, where's the next entry here? For me, I'd be like, all right, well that's a trade in itself on that trend break because we're continuing, we're holding supply, right? I think this is always a good exercise to kind of look back and be like, all right, well this trade went in my direction. So if I had strong conviction, where are the places I can potentially participate next time if this shows up? So I think another place is this little guy right here. This is a strong quadunk. We have a strong bid that comes up, retraces retraces all the way to this prior structure, and then the participants that were here and dominant at this structure step in once again. So I want to participate on the sell, and guess what? Right here, that's taking out some stops. So maybe I'm participating once again in here.
Yeah.
Still maybe risking here, or maybe even if I want to keep it tight, I'm like, all right, if I'm risking this consolidation, I want to trail it down to where that next low is. So maybe that low or that risk starts to step down from here. I'm going to trail the risk. I'm like, okay, cool, working all of this. No real reason to add, no real reason to add, but I'm looking for structure retest. So maybe when you get that strong bid and that retests this structure right here, maybe I'm getting right back in on an entry, so an add, because this might be a trade in itself right here once again. And then where do we trail risk? To the prior structure right here. That keeps you maybe in this trade, and then maybe you're taking this structure breakdown as well in and around here. So this little consolidation, you're just like, all right, I'm taking this structure breakdown to look for that low a day crack, and then I move stop to the next place. So that's around here. And then since then, no real reason, we didn't really break down here. So you're looking for maybe a cover, or maybe you're looking for structure to start acting differently, being like, all right, we've only had lower highs and lower lows, so as soon as we get kind of a bigger picture, a relatively bigger picture structure start to step up, and we get higher highs and higher lows, that could be the stop, or you just wait till you kind of come into some of these levels. So you can either risk to here, or maybe you're pulling it tighter, you're risking to here as well, because you now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entries. Now, we're just kind of reviewing this trade in a sense, being like, okay, in an ideal scenario, maybe this is how you participate, but it looks pretty on a chart, but that's the kind of mental I'm trying to get at as well. Right?
I want to get better, so thank you for going over that with me.
Where were the places that could have got in? Where could I have respectably risked along the way so that I can protect the position as well?
What if I got it now?
Like right now, right here, this structure right here. So okay, so what if you kind of press into it here? Because now, once again, you're average all the way here. You're kind of continuing this trade, but maybe you reject structure here. But is this an actual rejection just yet? I don't know.
I'm waiting, but I'm saying it could end.
Maybe potentially, but you don't really have room to move the risk here as well if it's down here. So maybe if you're here, and now you add on to this, now you move on to here. So this is the kind of concept I'm talking about. I think, again, great concept illustrated by the Short Bear. It's on, I'm pretty sure it's on his YouTube channel as well. But that kind of pyramiding concept is something I'm trying to bring into my trading as well.
So am I.
So in the ideal scenario, you're in the most shares for the stocks that are in your direction the most, and you're in the least shares and taking the least losses on the stocks that are not really working and they're going against you. So I like that concept of positioning into a trade. So yeah, it's a little bit of a review for a few minutes. So hopefully you guys got something out of that. But yeah, when structure really steps in, I am looking to pyramid into position. So that's kind of the mindset I'm going with now in my trading, to try to get better at capturing the move to its fullest potential, because I don't know what it's going to do. I'm only going to participate in what it's showing me. And in that participation, I try to ideally maximize the leg that I'm able to capture as well. So
I like that.
Let's see. Ideal scenario, we talked about it. Realistic execution is something that I definitely have to work on a little bit better. So there's a little bit of a lesson of pyramiding that I wanted to talk through, because I saw the chart and I'm like, oh boy, that looks absolutely beautiful with the way it holds structure and steps down or steps up. You can take it the other way as well on something that's trending up. If you see it holding structure, if you see supports turning into resistances, it's a very strong concept of supply and demand. If you see that happening on the intraday, maybe it's worth a look. That's all I have to say about that. What do you got going on?
Well, thank you for going over that, Obi. I seriously, and so I was just doing some stops there too. But I think, like, honestly, why I really like that is because, and I stand by, like, you know, the trade I took was a bit scalpier. I stand by it, it's fine. But you're right, like, it's just worth noting there's so much more potential for that. And then even, as I mentioned, even like, let's say I get out of the trade, that's fine. I should have been getting back in when it showed that structure was continuing to hold and giving me more confidence. So thank you very much for that, Obi. And guys, I think this is like one of the benefits of being on the trading floor, even if you make your own pod, because that's what we, like the traders, there's not that many traders left on the floor because again, the floor is gone, but like we'll always review with each other, right? And you have to have an open mind. You cannot be worried about like, oh, my trade sucked, blah, blah. Like, it's not about that. right? Like it's just about having an open mind, being ready for constructive feedback. Like,
yeah,
you know,
you have to be able to take constructive criticism.
Yeah.
That's another big part
100%.
you know, just being successful at anything, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And that's why, like, I have no issue with Obi, you know, coming and being like, you know, this is, I missed the trade, kind of saying like that's where you could have gotten involved.
My trading is sloppy today. Like I don't see any great opportunities. I captured some of the reversions. Actually, Apple's starting to take a little bit of a curl on top of 47s here as well. So I do have it on watch. You know what? Maybe I do participate a little inkling of this price action here, but I'll continue watching that. But yeah, it's a good thing to kind of review your trades and go back at it. And this is the thing. A lot of people kind of just like, they come in, and I saw this happen on the floor multiple times.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
They just come in like it's well, you can consider it like it's your job, but at the end of the day, you're just coming in, you're blindly hitting keys, and you're expecting things to improve over time without any sort of review. Now, let me ask you this: forget about trading, in anything in life, how are you going to get better if you don't assess and analyze your performance?
You're not.
If you don't assess and analyze what you're doing. Again, going back, I like Go Sports. As much as I love sports, as you guys know, but some of the best players got better watching back games. Some of the best players got better watching back tape, right? Replaying some of the best plays. They're reviewing some of the best players. So it's just like, okay, you can take that concept, extract it. If you want to perform better, why not learn from some of the best performers? And athletes are definitely that. Right, so it's just, I think that that's something to consider here. Saying 10,000 hour rule, yeah, exactly, 10,000 hours. So I think I'm actually coming up to almost 10,000 hours in Rocket League. So we'll.
I thought you were going to talk about trading. I was like,
sorry, but yeah, no, I don't know if maybe I have 10. I don't think I have my 10,000 hours of direct seat time in trading, but I don't know. I haven't really been keeping track, but it's been about what? Almost 3 years here on the floor, I think.
Yeah, you had over 3 years, because I have it over 2 years, and you were like a year in when I started.
Yeah, so it's been a long time coming, and oh boy, what a learning journey that has been, and it continues to be that, and I think it will stay like that, right? No one's ever going to find that final formula being like, okay, this is the trade, this is how I'm going to continue trading for the rest of my life. Absolutely not. The market is a living, breathing being, and it will change over time. It will change behaviors. It's because of the different kinds of participants. It's because of the different kinds of market environments as well. So yeah, it's something to learn from, and you're only going to really effectively extract that value if you sit here every single day. You got the seat time for that, and you know it's a work in progress. Nothing's perfect, but that's what I'm trying to achieve. There you go. Yeah, there you go. David in the chat saying, you already know Obi knows how to hit a flip reset. Absolutely. Come on, bro. Come on. We're hitting those flip resets. But do you really need it to win games? Maybe not until you're like champ or grand champ, but I don't know.
Rocket League?
Yes, that is a Rocket League reference. But
the one with the soccer balls are
the
cars.
The
opposite.
soccer
cars are playing with soccer.
Game. Yes, that's the one. But I like it because it reminds me of trading. There is no visible skill ceiling because of that, and it's like it's hours in and effective, meaningful hours in equals results. So I think it's good. Gaming is a good kind of way to learn certain types of concepts that do transfer over to trading, because at the end of the day, like I say this, trading is very much a PvP game, hardcore, and one of the most hardest ranked arenas in the world for sure.
Leave it to Obi to just kill it with the analogies to throw it over. I will say, guys, I think it's PvP, but also you might remember that psychology lesson I did in the midday a while back. I think it's also, you know, you're familiar with gaming, I'm familiar with storytelling, so I'm gonna take it a different direction here with this analogy. I just got stopped at Lululemon, that's fine. I figured this consolidation curl could have been a thing. We broke out of it. I'm out. I'm cooling. I'm still in NASCAR. I'm still in Ferrari, not NASCAR. And I'm not looking to enter any other trades here.
Do they race Ferraris at NASCAR? I don't know.
I don't know.
I know they do like Fords and GMs.
But yeah, no, this Applovin, that 572, we talked about structure. Look where we reject. We reject that structure low, this breakdown from earlier. So I don't mind if we break below that 572, risking to 574. I don't know if that's going to be wide enough, but I'm going to have my eye on that. So that's what I'm watching right now. I apologize. I've been a little bit less active here with my trading, but I'm just on watch. Nope. The thing I was going to say was we talk about, player versus player or whatever, right? In writing, it's like they talk about the quintessential conflicts, right? So like man versus nature, man versus man versus
wild
society. Well, I think it's man versus nature, Obi. But also,
the show is man versus wild, I think.
Oh, maybe I was talking about story structure. But
yes,
anyways, one of the biggest ones, and I think this is also important for trading, is man versus self.
Yes.
Because yes, you're playing against other people, but ultimately you're playing against your own psychology. Now, how do you make that easier for yourself? You come up with structures that are easy for you to remember. If you like rules, like I do, come up with lots of rules. Trade tickers that make sense to you. I love patterns and I love trying to make things make sense in my head that way, which is why I'm so comfortable and so, I love my spread, because spready tickers give you that in spades. So find what you're comfortable with, and you can, move on and grow from that. You shouldn't only do one thing. As Obi said, the market will change, but I think it's important to start and make a base around that. So that is my rant here. People were mentioning, someone was like, mention USAR. Take a look at USAR. These VWAP bounces, I told you guys, these material stocks that have been strong have been bouncing off VWAP. Now, VWAP bounce here is getting a little bit anemic. It needs some ferrous gluconate. It needs an iron supplement, or maybe some caffeine or like a burger. The point I'm trying to make is, we have the first VWAP bounce here after the news. We make a higher flat top, either way, slightly higher high. Then we come back and we almost look like we're gonna flat bottom break out of VWAP. But not only do we still bounce off VWAP, we still continue to make a higher low from the first VWAP bounce, right? So interesting look. I would like to see us continue to ride that 9 EMA to the upside. I think if we break a lower low below VWAP, I'm not gonna love that. Also, it looks like dear Lulu just wicked me out only to continue. But I'm not going to cry because I took the trade. And I've noticed something too, and this is all psychology, but I do think psychology is really huge for trading. Sometimes, if I get stopped out of a trade, what I need to do is I just need to mime shaking hands. I shake my hand with the market. You know what I mean?
You're making deals.
Exactly. Yeah. And I did make a deal. I decided, I was going to take these shares for this price.
Nice.
And the market decided, that's cool. I'm going to go against you. And I said,
that's cool.
Thank you very much. You know what I mean? Sure, I think that's fair.
Nimble.
That's kind of how I take these approach. Beantown Patriot saying, seriously, I am unsure as to what that is reference to, but if you have any questions or anything you want us to look at, please do let us know. I am really, really grateful to be here with you guys, and I do mean that very sincerely. So, Applovin.
Yeah.
Hello, friend. How you doing, girl?
That's holding that day low so far.
Right, it's holding the day low, actually slightly higher low.
Yeah.
And but here's the thing, this type of top, especially around this consolidation low from a while.
Once again.
Part of me is like, I think what it's trying to do, and I don't want to make assumptions, but just based on previous action I've seen in this type of stock, part of me initially was like, I'll take a long. But I honestly think any kind of long here is going to be a fake out. Because look, we get that topping tail candle, and we continue to kind of reject. So the answer here is not a short. The answer is it's a no-go zone. I'm not going to trade it until it gives me a sense of direction. I want to see a clear push above that 574 decisively, or a nice push decisively below 572. Right now, I don't have any levels. Lululemon, it is what it is, I have a feeling this will go lower. If I have another opportunity to re-enter, I'll get in. Right now, I don't. And honestly, Ferrari's still going. So here's Ferrari. We really stalled here. The Ferrari kind of needed to get its gas refilled at 395.50, and unfortunately, the gas station we went to was a little bit higher than the price we were trading at, which I didn't like. But you know what? I'm still in this trade. My stop is kind of, I gave it a little bit of room above that range, arguably too much room, but I'm okay with that.
Nice.
Ivar saying we're very grateful to see you back. Thank you very much for the kind words. So Marlon Lycup, yeah, I talk a lot, guys. I have a lot of opinions, but I do appreciate the second part of your statement. I take trades. And even if you don't see me here on the screen trading, I'm taking them over my hobbit hole over on the news desk. So if you guys have any questions, especially about spready tickers, I think that's my niche, my oeuvre. I do trade other tickers too, but that's my preference. So Jaylee asking, how many $1 winners did you get on those shorts or rough total? Great shorts today, congrats. So I don't really like to do the dollar club thing, but I can just tell you truthfully, some of my trades here, we'll go over it. So Ferrari, I got involved this, like I said, these two trades, we lost. Those notwithstanding, my first, this trade here, I had this was like what, $4 in the money. I'm still holding right now.
So here's a question for you. What got you involved? So I know you were trading Ferrari yesterday as well.
Yes.
What got you involved today?
Honestly, Obi, the first thing initially that got me involved was when I pulled up my P-Pro this morning at like 7. This is already doing like 20,000 shares. Now, that's not enough to trade at pre-market at all. What I'm trying to say is that is more than Lily was doing pre-market today. That's more than Applovin was doing pre-market today. And again, I think with a lot of these spready tickers, when I say relative volume, I mean relative volume compared to each other, because they all trade a lot lighter volume, right? So if I see a ticker that is spready, that's doing kind of decent volume in the morning, I'm automatically like, you're still in play. Because that had a catalyst yesterday. I was not sure.
What was the catalyst yesterday?
For Ferrari, it had to do with the, it wasn't earnings, but they had their guidance.
It wasn't earnings.
It was not
so
earnings.
it was earnings related. So it was guidance.
It was guidance related, yes.
Okay,
Some of their guidance.
Forward guidance, yeah.
And then forward car related guidance too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I wanted to say there with regards to Ferrari. The relative volume pre-market was what kept it on my blotter, or not my, I guess also my blotter, but on my mind. And really quickly, Zach Bobek asking about Tesla, thoughts on Tesla from here. The thing is, too, guys, whenever anyone asks me for my thoughts, I want to promise I can't always have, I'm not going to have thoughts on everything. Okay, I do have thoughts on Tesla, though, TSLA. So, Zach Bobek. I like that name. I like Tesla here. The one thing I don't love about Tesla, I like the idea of Tesla's a flat bottom break short, truthfully. It looks really similar to NVIDIA. They're actually twinning here. What I don't like about Tesla or NVIDIA, actually, no, NVIDIA made a slightly higher low. Zach Bobek, I always find it slightly tricky when a ticker makes a slightly lower low and then bounces, because then I think it's kind of trying to fake out longs who have their stops at the low of day, right? But I don't want to make assumptions. I'm going to wait to see what it tells me. I have this on watch. I'll keep an eye on it. If it does give me a more decisive, flat bottom break type look.
Right.
And honestly, that 419 breakdown could be compelling. You risk to just above 420s. So maybe I'll light that one up. Maybe I'll spark that trade up on that 420 rejection, but nothing major. That is my opinion, though, on TSLA, Zach Bobek, and Applovin doing a little bit of a, I think I'm going to short this on the 15-minute prior bar break, but I'll have to wait and see. How you doing over here, Obi?
I'm just reading the chat here. Jameson in the chat pointing out, asking Obi, UNH question mark? Okay, we can take a quick look at that one. I know that's been trying to curl. It's been selling off, or it had been selling off pretty aggressively. Let's see where that's sitting at. As of right now, I know a lot of people may be getting involved, or were getting involved in a potential reversion or a trade, getting long, being like, okay, well, this is obviously oversold to a certain extent. Yeah, you want to get involved in something that's clearly mispriced. We know that, who was it? Berkshire also kind of picked up some inventory, but you got to remember, they like to buy the left side of the V sometimes. So it's a different kind of trade. You have to remember that different participants manage their risk differently. So here we go. UNH, what are we up to? Oh boy, so we did get a reversion to this leg right here. So 375. So we got a false break of this initial low, right, which looked kind of like capitulation, but it kind of, I guess it really wasn't. Maybe temporarily it was, but eventually you kind of break back down, false break of that reference low right there, and then picks back up, structure hold. I think a lot of people started looking at it in here, 300. This consolidation, again, the price action kind of speaks for itself. It consolidated, accepted that 300 price after a strong quadunk, and then we've been stair-stepping up here as well. So I like this. This is the initial test of this reference high where sellers stepped in pretty aggressively. Where was this? Where and when was this? This was on Tuesday, May 13th of this year. So we have retraced about 100% or 100% back to these references, but still a long ways away from the first quadunk that we got in April of this year. So April 16th, around that time, got that first little push down. 581s all the way down into 420s, and a nice little gradual bleed and puke roll over, maybe some capitulation on the short term, but nice little consolidation that we've been having since. So that's the look on UNH. I really liked it in and around here with this 300 in terms of a reversion. I liked it in here, but if I like it in here, the risk is down to here. I don't know if I'm chasing all the way up here. Maybe you're looking at a trend hold. Now, I know I have a bunch of anchors and all sorts of stuff sitting in and around these levels. You can see I have my support and resistances, and we cracked those pretty decently and pushed a little bit higher, 328s, 330s. So we're holding structure pretty well, and this is something that we just covered. If we're going to revert, do we hold that structure back to back, and does it have that methodic kind of a stair step back up? That's healthy. Or does it move around or move back in any sort of other way? So that's kind of the look there on UNH. I do like the idea, but maybe not on the intraday. On the intraday, pretty much selling off pretty aggressively and breaking back through some of these prior days levels here. Both Wednesday and Thursday, lows were 366s. We cracked that with strong volume. You can see the strongest volume bar of the day is not the opening bar. It is the bar that actually cracks through this support. So best believe there are people with sitting in and around these areas, whether they have their stops, whether they have, for whatever reason, there's liquidity in these areas. And that got taken out right away off of the open. All right, Vaughn Clark with the super chat. Thank you very much. AMC, what's that pop about? Let's take a quick look at that one. And we got another one. Bud C, thank you as well for the super chat. Great job stepping up last 2 days, whole team. Apple and FRTR. Okay, so we can take a look. Apple fritter. Okay, I see what you mean. Nice, thank you. So thank you for those super chats, guys. So AMC, let's take a look at that one. Not AMD. Nice. Muscle memory. That's called muscle memory. As soon as I'm like AM, the last one, just hit the AMD. Nice consolidation here, coming into some prior levels. Oh boy, I got to watch my support and resistances a little bit closer because when they do come in, it seems like they come in pretty nicely here. But let's see, AMC. I know GME had a little bit of a maybe potential move over the past couple of days. It showed up on a scanner, I think. So yeah, a little pop here. What is this pop, you may ask? Here's the thing, man. No real kind of strong volume. If this was somewhat catalyst driven, I think that you would see much stronger volume than some of the average bars. Here, it's just social media attention. Thank you, Adara, for that. So Adara is saying it's just social media attention. So people piling in on maybe some rumors here. But yeah, maybe it's good to keep an eye out as that volume starts to expand and maybe gives you some more confluence for a potential move higher. But what has this name been doing over the past couple of weeks to months? Let's take a quick look on the weekly chart here. So sideways chop consolidation. Oh boy, this thing does not look that great, man. AMC Entertainment. There's nothing entertaining about this stock. So
that was great. Obi, you're so good with like the throws where you just end on like some line and it's awesome. I do want to talk here about Applovin. So someone in the chat said, Adara is revenge trading. I don't view this as a revenge trade. I kind of told you guys what my thought process was in Applovin anyway, was if we kind of make a clear break below that 572 on the 15, especially, I'm going to like it. And I'll show you guys the 15-minute chart. Now, do I think I might have accidentally gotten tricked into this? And do I think maybe this was a short trap or a bear trap? Sure. But do I think I had the wrong reason to take the trade? Absolutely not. I stand by this. This was technical. And here's the thing, like you can take trades that maybe were on tickers that either you missed trades on before and you lost trades on before. And if you believe in, like, you shouldn't avoid those trades just because you're scared you're trading emotionally. Because I used to do that. I'm like, I can't touch this because I'm worried I'm trading it like revenge. No, you know if you are. In this case, I might lose on this and this might have been long, in which case I'll flip to the long if I see enough reason for that. But I truly believe on the technicals that it's at least worth it for me to try a short. And I might not be right. But guys, look at this 15-minute chart. There's so much support at this 573, 574 level. Now it's flipping to resistance. So why not take an attempt at the short? That's my look there. That is also, that's a playbook for me, so I have no issue with attempting that trade. Now, this is just AMD. I was trying to revisit what this one did. I got stopped out of that short earlier, basically flat, took some profit on it. I'm chilling there, and I was very lucky to have that short earlier too on this one. Ferrari OB made a new low, I can't, maybe a slightly lower low of day. I thought that the real area that we're going to struggle with here was going to be around 394s, so my profit takers around there, but it looks like we don't even want to break 395s. I'm not going to chase this though. My issue was if we kept struggling with 395.50s, I would probably take some profit, but we're not really doing that, so I don't want to. Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted. I might take a piece, but I also don't want to take a piece just for the sake of taking a piece, or I don't want to feel pressured to do that because I'm on the show and I want to, size down, take some profit, whatever, right? So I'm going to stay where I am right now. So there we go. SPRB. Keep an eye on this.
Ooh, SPRB.
SPRB.
That's
Martin Shkreli. That was that Martin Shkreli stock from earlier, and he just posted about it here. And I'll do a dramatic reading. For people who loved or loathed my dramatic reading of the Trump post, get ready, guys. You're getting another one. Let me drink some water first. SPRB is popping on this, by the way, guys. I'll full screen it.
I can take a look at that while you do that. So SPRB here, we've seen this one kind of move around on the Shkreli pump. as it did earlier this week. Was it earlier this week? Yeah, that was on. That was basically Monday and then Tuesday. Yeah, that was earlier. That was on Monday. Damn, I thought that was much longer ago. I'm like, it's been a while, but I thought it was sometime last week. But we've been consolidating sideways, so that's interesting, and then picking right back up. So what a pump on this one, buddy. I don't know if the SEC is not knocking on your door soon enough. I don't know what they're really doing, catching much smaller fish probably, but. You can see that high a day is coming in at 193.76s as of right now, and maybe pushing up a little bit higher here. So some volume coming in on some chatter on SPRB. Would you like to go ahead and read? Yes.
I got a sneak peek at the SPRB pipe book. All healthcare funds, all fundamental. No idea why they priced it down there, but great to see some big and smart firms involved. No pipe flippers in brackets. I need to look into what the pipe flipping thing means, but shout out to Martin Shkreli. And again, if you enjoyed my Trump post-dramatic reading, go back like probably an hour, 2 hours and a half. I had a lot of fun reading that for you guys. Because you know what? News of Dara likes to be a little bit more serious, but trading Dara, we're going to have a little bit more fun with it. You know what I mean? Why not? We're here in this desk for you guys. I am pleased as punch. Applovin. Like I said, this can go either way, but here's the thing with trades. They can always go either way.
Yep.
You always have a shot of being wrong. And obviously you want to take the opportunities where you think you have the highest probability. In this case, I may have miscalculated with Applovin, and that's fine. But as I said, I am not going to get out unless and until my stop is hit. The stop is around 574s. And here's the thing, the spread on this is really wide. It's like $1. Nothing on the spread. Okay, right now the spread's trying to push up a little bit, this slight bid creep, but it's more jumpy. Now, if I was seeing a steady, determined creep up, like every 1 or 2 cents on the bid into that 574s, that might cause me to panic. I'm not seeing that yet, but again, I don't panic anyway. I'm a trader. I take trades.
Yeah, don't be a panicking.
I'm not, or a Canadian, you know, because we're Canadians. We'll see here. Yeah, in all inevitability, I'm probably going to get stopped out in this, but I wouldn't have been comfortable taking the long anyway because of that fake out of the 572 breakdown. At this point, you know, I'm not going to say manipulation, but I think people are just playing around and trying to be a little spicy here is what I'll say, Obi, because there is some spice here. But guess what? I don't like spice in my food, but I love it in these here markets.
So
only a couple minutes left.
That's some crazy. Spice coming into the market right now. You can see I just saw wipes into the bid on Apple right now. So here's the thing. I was looking at this. I did get along. If you guys were kind of looking at the board there, I did get along a little bit here because I'm like, if this goes, this is probably going to go. I'm looking for it to go right now, but I'm going to keep it tight because again, if I expect this to go, this should go relatively soon. Getting out. And then boom, sellers step in not only on just Apple, but on the Nasdaq and the ES as well. So I'm just like, yeah, this is why. It's just, sometimes the tape can be very telling, dude. The tape can be like, yeah, the probability of this happening, the tape can be like, okay, that's very unlikely now. And it's funny enough, Jose and I were sitting in the back yesterday just talking about certain concepts of price action. We were here till like 8 p.m. last night, just being like, okay, we were just running through charts and going over some of our like momentum trades, and we were just like, okay, well, we had an argument about the moment and conviction. He's like, oh, there's no way.
Arguments about this too.
Yeah, I mean, I love talking trading. And it's just like, I was like, is there not a moment when you're watching something that you're just like, okay, this is going to go. You have the utmost confidence. You have a 90% confidence that this is going to go right now. And if it doesn't, if it's that 10% that I'm wrong, I'm more than willing to be wrong and take that 10% out, right? And I think we sometimes eventually came to the conclusion that yes, there are moments in certain kinds of price action where you're just like, okay, we've seen everything we need to see, and we have tape confluence, and we have a bunch of other confluence. Like, this is gonna go, and if it doesn't, I'm more than willing to be wrong. But that confidence and that conviction, that's the word I'm looking for. You get that conviction, and eventually we came to the conclusion that yes, there are certain types of price action that does give you extremely strong conviction, and there are certain types of price action where you're just like, yeah, maybe that's a 50 to 60% chance that this is likely to happen based off of how that's coming in. But yeah, no, probabilities, very interesting. But going back to the point, the tape can be very telling much before the move kind of actually comes in as well. And you can you can kind of assess that maybe a little bit better. Or I find myself assessing that a little bit better if I'm already watching it, because I'm always looking for distinct difference. Is something distinctly different? Relative difference is a huge thing in the market.
Yeah.
I think that distinctly different is a very big thing in the market. So when things are looking distinctly different, I do want to participate.
Yeah, and I really respect that. And I think that's a really good point to make. I want to address here, too, I did take a piece out of the Ferrari. I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but we just held that 395 really cleanly, and then we kind of bounced. And I said, you don't want to dare it, just take a piece. So I got a piece out around 395.70s. I still have half the position in, and I'm going to be chilling here. I really want to thank our friend, Small Cap Millionaire, for the $10 super chat. She's not talking too fast. Y'all listening too slow. Good job covering.
Yes.
Thank you for the kind words there. I really appreciate it. I'm going to guess that
You guys
that's
just have
referring
to
to
listen
me.
faster. Come on.
I mean, I don't know about that. Listen at the speed you're happy to listen to, because, guys, on YouTube, you can slow down the video if you want. So, yeah, if you want to slow down the video.
Or turn up the volume.
Or turn up the volume at my whispering.
I don't know why you would.
But, yeah, thank you, Tammy KB. So happy to see me live trading. Like, guys, this is honestly always a treat when I get to come back and visit you guys. But I'm always over there, just still on the news desk. You can always tag me if you have any questions, or if there's any spready tickers that you're like, hey, what are your thoughts on this? If I have thoughts, I'll share them. And yeah, that's. I can't believe it's already 2 o'clock.
Yeah, hopefully you guys had a solid midday session. Crazy quadunking happening in the markets. Hopefully we find a bid soon enough. But without any further ado, we're going to pass it back to the guys right there. We'll see you guys soon. Take it easy. Have a good one.